Next on Saratoga Live, the John's Call is our feature. A mile and 5/8 on the turf, and the meet's leading trainer. Chad Brown sends out a pair of horses, highlighted by Call Provision, who's 3 for 5 at Saratoga. Rocketry was just beat by Call Provision when they met here on opening weekend. But he is sent out by the hottest trainer at the meet in Jimmy Jerkins. He'll try and turn the tables. And we'll have the latest on the draw from the Travers last night right here at Saratoga Springs and what that means for the filly trying to tackle the boys in the Midsummer Derby as we get set for the Run Happy Travers Stakes coming up this weekend from Saratoga. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Saratoga Live. Good to have you with us as we kick off a brand new week of racing here at the premier race meet in the country. It's presented by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. You're joining us just in time for the start of the late pick 4 sequence on Irish American Day here at the Spa. Greg Wolf alongside former New York Met, LA Dodger, Paul LaDuca in our feature race. We're going a ways in here, a mile and 5/8 over the turf. We talked about Call Provision in the open, 3 for 5 at Saratoga. This is going to be on the inner, or I should say on the Mellon turf, all those wins coming on the inner turf, but he's been in very sharp form of late.
Yeah, and he likes to win races. Look, he's 7 for 17 lifetime. He's in the leading barn here at the meet, and Chad Brown. He comes out of a race where he did beat Hello Don Julio in the dying strides, but there was not a lot of pace on in this race, and I like the way he was able to chase and get the job done. You're right, he does have 3 wins here at Saratoga. I do think when he hits the front end, he tries to wait around a little bit. He needs to be sort of ridden perfectly, but Irad knows him enough. Last time there was no pace in that race, so he had to be up close. If there is pace, he can sit farther back.
Irad Ortiz Jr. meets leading rider. Timed it perfectly last out on Call Provision. Can he do it again at this longer distance today? You can play all the races we're showing you each and every day of this Saratoga meeting by getting signed up and started with Naira Bet's $200 new member bonus going on when you use the promo code Saratoga Live. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Let's meet the rest of our crew and get their thoughts on our big race. Coming up, New York Racing Association handicapper Andy Serling and the voice of Monmouth Park, Frank Miramati, with us today. Hey, guys.
Tell you what, any day you're with Frank Miramati is a good day. Call Provision is the more accomplished of the Chad Brown and Carver stables as well, who are currently leading owners here at Saratoga. Focus Group is the up-and-comer in here, and he's coming off a win that's probably better than it looks on paper.
He's a very honest horse, and he's coming into his own, I think, this year, Andy. Last time out, he also got a course that had some give in it, and he put in a very nice kick. Look at him on the far outside, get a couple of left-handed reminders, and take off.
No, he did, and he had some trouble on the turn as well. There were a couple of points when Jose kind of had to stop on him, and it's hard to do that. And I'll tell you something, Channel Cat, who was second in here for trainer Todd Fletcher, had previously finished 4th in a very tough Grade 1 Belmont Derby, and he's kind of an up-and-coming distance horse in the 3-year-old, so that was a tough field. He's taking a step forward here, but he has to be considered a major player.
There's no question. How many times have you said, oh, no, it's the other Chad?
It'll be interesting if that's the case today. There are other players in this race as well. Rocketry, a horse who is looking to get a big win, and he's a horse that should handle the distance, Maggie.
That's exactly right, Andy. And his trainer, Jimmy Jerkins, riding a 5-race win streak into this John's Call here today. It all started with Secure It Is back on the 16th here of August, and it's capped off this past Monday with a win in the Evan Shipman. But Rocketry last time when he faced Call Provision last time out on July 21st, I thought actually had the more difficult trip, traveling 54 feet more than the eventual winner, to only be beaten by him by a half a length. He was just carried out very, very wide that day. Now, Jimmy Jerkins said he hopes the turf isn't too soft, but says that Rocketry shouldn't have too much trouble with it having a little moisture in it, which I think is what he's going to experience here today. As we'll throw it over to Gabby Gaudet, who is checking in with a horse that's going out for new connections.
That's right, Maggie. There's actually a pair of horses making their way into the starting gate for the John's Call, both coming out of different barns than what they previously raced under, and Gold Shield is one of them, a trainer change to Neil Morris. And the interesting thing about Gold Shield, and now he did go against Highland Sky and Call Provision last time out, he's going to have to hope to turn the tables. The thing about him is, and I talked to his previous trainer, Shug McGahee, so many times before in the past, and he said, unfortunately, this is a horse that is just very difficult to ride. He only has one move, and that move is not it does not sustain for very long. So you need a rider on his back that's going to make a perfect move and get to the wire just in time. And that is why I love the fact that Joel Rosario is aboard him today. I believe it's the first time he's ever been aboard this horse. And we've just seen in the past that Joel really suits these types of horses. But guys, I do think that the main question in this race is going to be the pace. Gold Shield, he could see himself forwardly placed. I just hope he gets a little bit of a target to run behind today.
Well, it's an intriguing feature race. We'll talk plenty about it. By the way, turf condition listed as good. Well, more on the conditions coming up here in a moment. Here's today's races. Late pick 4 starts in race 7, 6.5 furlongs, New York bred maiden special weight. Everyone trying to get that first win of their career. 8th race, mile over the inner turf. The 9th is our feature of the John's Call. We close things out with a $50,000 maiden claiming sprint at 3/4 of a mile. Weather and track conditions presented by Piranha Fly Spray. The preferred fly spray of the Saratoga Racecourse. Piranha on, pests gone. Main track is fast, and the turf course listed as good for a couple of turf races coming up this afternoon. 7th race, here we go. New York bred maiden special weight at 6.5 furlongs. And Paulie making out the 8. 8-5, attracting a lot of money on the board right now.
Yeah, decent third place finish first time out with an awkward start on the comment line. Now, it was an awkward start. I thought that she recovered pretty quickly. Now, she's been in the sidelines since June. She was about 2.5 to 1 that day. She's 8-5 today. In deserved favor. Listen, the 1 and the 8 look like on paper as the 2 horses to bet in here. And Mrs. Orb right now not taking the money where making out is.
Yeah, 9-5 morning line on the 1. Mrs. Orb, as we look at your pick 4 ticket, and right now 4-1. So you're going 4 deep here.
Well, I thought Ad Arena, the 6 was an interesting horse that closed into a very slow race. I get it. There was fast fractions, but I'm going to give the horse another look. I do think the 8 making out might be the horse to beat with Mrs. Orb. 1, 3, 5, 6. I'm landing on Call Provision. I'll take my shot there. Focus Group is the up-and-coming horse, but you got to single somewhere in a tough race. Then race number 10. Confusing race. You're going to see some 2-year-old fillies going 6 furlongs for the maiden 50. The 10 on the outside might be your favorite for Chad Brown. Let's see what happens there. Castellano does stick for the last race, but I thought there was others intriguing in there.
Yeah, good betting race to close things out. So should you get there, it's a race that seems like you would want some coverage. You can use your Naira Bets app to hit a trifecta in the John's Call Stakes today and earn a 10% winner's bonus. The app available in the App Store or for Android on NairaBets.com. Naira Bets offers a 10% winner's bonus on a selected stake race every day of the meet. NairaBets.com is where you go for the entire schedule. So Mrs. Orb, 9-5 morning line, going to try sprinting for the first time in her career. She's a little cold on the board right now. Late pick 4 from Saratoga. We'll talk about what that means. Have the post parade coming up right after this on Saratoga Live. Stay with us.
An undefeated graded stakes winner on the track. Algorithms was the nation's #1 sire of 2-year-olds in 2017 by percentage of winners. His top runners include multiple graded stakes performer Rich Mommy, winner of the Grade 3 Sugar Swirl, multiple stakes winner and graded stakes performer Recruiting Ready, and stakes winners Taylor Spirit, He Hate Me, and Sunset Ridge. In the ring, his yearlings have brought prices up to $220,000. Algorithms, standing at Clayton Farm.
They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets. Rushes out of there to take the lead. It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
Switches back to the outside. Exaggerator down to the 16th pole. But Exaggerator has turned the tables. He has won the Preakness. Phoenix has won the Travers over American Flag. Irish War Cry has won the Wood Memorial. Alice. Good Magic's going to win his first race, and he's going to do it in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
We've
We've waited nearly 4 decades for a horse to conquer the American classics. He was worth the wait.
The 37-year wait is over. American Pharoah has won the Triple Crown. A Triple Crown winner, a Breeders' Cup winner, a horse of a lifetime.
Standing at Coolmore America, home of champions.
We wanted to check out some of the food options around here today, and our editor, Art, said, you give me the salad spot, I'm going to make this video absolutely dance. And look at this. We've been there several times. These salads are tremendous.
Listen.
You want a healthy option?
Yeah, exactly. You hit the nail on the head. You hit the word I want to say, healthy. We always talk about pie on wheels, which is the pizza. We talk about the fried cheesecake. We talk about a lot of other stuff here. Shake Shack. You want to eat healthy? There you go.
What'd you have today? Be honest.
Shake Shack.
This report coming up, it's the Paddock Report. We're going to go to Maggie Wolfendale. It's brought to you by Hillendale Farm. Now standing curling for $150,000.
I'm a big fan of the greenhouse, that's for sure. I got to give my man over there, Lou, a shout out. Love to get the salads and the wraps. They're delicious as the horses are here and set and ready for today's 7th race. As we'll take a look at your current favorite. That is number 8, Making Out. I remember catching up with Bruce Levine when he had a winner a couple weeks ago here with Take Charge Aubrey, and he said that Making Out, he thought, was one of his best kind of older maidens in the barn. And what I will say about her this time around is she is way more sharp than what she was going back to that June 14th debut. She still looks fantastic, and actually that day I thought she may want a little more ground, but the fact that such a change in her demeanor, quite all right with the 6.5 furlongs that she'll meet here today. Now turning back in distance is number 9, In Denial, who is a horse that I've picked in both of her 2 career efforts thus far. Very disappointingly, she is gorgeous. I mean, she's one of the better looking horses, especially New York breds that we have running here. But again, you know, like I said, she's not quite running to her looks. And I always will give a horse 3 tries. And if she strikes out this time, then I'm jumping off her bandwagon. But maybe the 6.5 turning back is what she ultimately wants. Now, as far as pedigree is concerned, kind of an interesting tie with number 8 and number 5 causing trouble in here. Saint Misbehavin', a dam of Mischief Maker, who is the dam of Making Out. So causing trouble, I guess you could say, is Making Out's aunt, if that works out correctly. But this daughter of Noble Causeway, very, very fit in here, very professional as well in the paddock. The only problem is that, you know, that dam Mischief Maker, they've been more productive at longer distances, and she is a tall drink of water in here, and just wondering if she might appreciate a little bit more ground as she moves forward. But Dave Duggan, he can be pretty sneaky here, isn't that right, Andy?
Oh, you know, Maggie, you know I'm Dave Duggan's biggest fan here. You and I could be the champions of his fan club. The one Mrs. Orb, and she is going to be second choice, judging by the doubles behind Making Out. I don't know, Frank. I like the cut back in distance. I don't love the rail. Not convinced the rail is the absolute best place to be in the dirt today, but I don't think she should be the second choice. I think she should be favored.
I disagree with you. I think the fans are right on the correct favorite. Mrs. Orb has had 4 chances. I will say this, Andy. In her last start, she was running strongly at the 6.5 furlong point, and she didn't lay down late. So there was nothing wrong with that effort. But Making Out has every right. When you look at upside potential, I think that's what you have to go.
I don't disagree with that, and I'm never going to argue with you, Frank, about a favorite. Because if a man, you're like a dog sniffing out truffles, or a pig sniffing out truffles for sniffing out a favorite.
You know, you have a lot of chutzpah, my friend.
I will agree on Making Out. And Making Out, I thought they made a mistake with Making Out. They took her back too much early. And I look for her to be more forwardly placed from the start here, because she can be more forwardly placed.
She didn't have the smoothest of beginnings Making Out last
Let's
time.
talk about In Denial. Let's talk about her after the post parade, because I'm not a big fan of her.
Okay.
Sam the Bugler with the call to post. We get set for race 7 coming up. Here is a first-time starter making her way to the track, daughter of Frost Giant, for trainer Barkley Tag at 14-1. Dylan Davis will be aboard there. But we start off with Mrs. Orb, who was the 9-5 morning line favorite. She's 7-2 right now with Joe Bravo.
I think she's value with Joe Bravo. If he can work out the right trip, I like the cut back in distance, and I think so far she's run the best race of anybody in this field.
Utspa, Rajiv Mirage, Michael Lerman, second time out.
She made up a tiny bit of ground in her turf debut, which was her actual career debut, bred by a gentleman, Clark Brewster, who won the previous race today. A gentleman who owns a lot of them.
Mohaney is the 3. It's a first-time starter, the Frost Giant. We just showed you making her way onto the track for Barkley Tag.
A homebred that's a half to a couple horses who've won around here for trainer Barkley Tag, who's having a great meet.
He certainly is. From limited starters, 30%. The 4, Sophie M. We have a rider change, Luis Reyes, on this daughter of Yes, It's True.
They're trying to figure out what to do with her. They've tried a few different things today. She is facing these New York breds again. Her last effort leaves a lot to be desired.
And the David Duggan filly, causing trouble, has Julian Leperoux in the irons.
As Maggie and I were saying, David Duggan does a terrific job, a very under-the-radar trainer. This one does not have much pedigree.
Tom Bush sends out a second-time starter. She ran on a race that was taken off the turf first out here at the meets. Jose Lezcano rides at Arena.
She's one of several in here by some high-profile Kentucky-based stallions like Bernardini. At Arena finished second. The winner drew off. That same horse, Silencia, came back and did not do much in career start number 2.
Parla Piano, the 7, Manny Franco on board for trainer David Donk.
Has been running in weaker fields and is stepping up in class.
Making out our current 8-5 favorite for trainer Bruce Levine with Jose Ortiz.
Her dam did all of her winning around 2 turns, but Making Out ran very well at 6 furlongs. I thought she was in striking range. She has every right to improve. She's the deserving chalk.
And In Denial is the 9-horse to round out the field for John Kimmel. Maggie talked about this one. Love of the way she looks. She hasn't run to those looks so far.
She's got a lot of pedigree, but her pedigree says longer, and she has done no running in her 2 starts.
5-1 on the board in Denial as we go back to Mrs. Orb. So she's going to try sprinting for the first time in her career this afternoon. She's coming in off a bullet drill here. She was at the Belmont training track to put in that 47-2 move. Of course, she is a daughter of Claiborne stallion Orb, who was Florida Derby and Kentucky Derby winner. Getting that Derby win for Shug McGahee, #1 freshman sales sire. Had a $900,000 filly at the 2018 Fasig-Tipton Gulfstream sale. And we had some Orbs run very well here last year, notably on the turf with Orvolution.
Yeah, and that's where this filly debuted on the turf, did not work out, and immediately they put her on the main track, and at least her early speed sped up, and then they went the mile in the 16th. Here's the thing that I like about her, too. Like, everybody keeps saying, oh, she's cutting back a distance and she's, you know, not a 2-turn horse. She's never run 2 turns besides her first race. All these races are elongated sprints. So if you look at her 1 mile elongated sprints, they crush this group. This is a good effort. I know she loses by 3/4 of a length. You tell me another horse that gets close to her at 6.5 furlongs. I just think she's involved early. She's got enough speed to stay with the rest of this group.
7-2. If you do like her, that is tremendous value on Mrs. Orban here. Meanwhile, we're going to send it back downstairs to Andy and Frank, and they're going to talk about third time out here for In Denial, who's taken money in each of her first 2 starts, guys.
Well, 2 guys down here are basically in denial. We might as well talk about this one.
We are in major denial.
I don't, as Maggie said, you want to give him 3 stars. This horse has a terrific pedigree. I didn't think her stumble was that bad at the start last time out. Thought she was dreadful. She's bred to stretch out. Didn't see her do any running in her debut. She draws well towards the outside, but Frank, I just haven't seen anything from her.
Well, in her debut, she really just was behind making out in that same race that Out of Orbit jogged home in. So you thought, okay, out of that race, getting LASIK, she'll improve. You're correct. She is definitely bred to go longer. Her half-sister, however, is Artemis Agritera, who earned almost $1 million. So you have to trust that she is a quality filly. She gets the outside post. She had the rail in her debut. As you know, that's not an easy thing. So she had a right to improve from there. She'll have to take a pretty big step forward. Right, that last race.
I don't like that she took that step backwards with
But she
her.
stumbled. Look, she's a young filly. You stumble, you lose energy. She's my second pick. I think 5-1's a fair number.
Listen, I'm not talking people off 5-1 shots. That's that. You want to talk somebody off a 6-5 shot. That's one thing. I just wish I'd seen more from her, but I'm not going to be shocked if she wins. I know Gabby Godet likes this horse. I'm looking forward to hearing what she has to say.
Thank you, Andy. Well, you guys were mentioning her kind of stumbling out of the gate. I actually got the chance to speak to John Kimmel, her trainer, about that race and asked him if he thought that the stumble was significant, and he said yes, because not only did she stumble, she also got squeezed out of the gate, and unfortunately she grabbed her quarter that day, and she lost a shoe. So after that, he communicated with Irad Ortiz after the race, and he said that unfortunately she just never picked up the bridle again, and she just kind of galloped around there. So yeah, it was a very unfortunate situation, but they've given her time to kind of heal her quarter and come into this race primed and ready to go. And she does have that sprint pedigree on the bottom side. So Andy, I mean, if you're looking at her last race, I would say that was a legitimate excuse.
I want to see it to believe it. I hear you, Gab. You and I disagreed before, and doesn't make me right or you right, and one of us the other one wrong here about the stumble. And I hear what John's saying, but Frank, trainers like to make excuses sometimes.
I think she had a legitimate excuse that day. She's young. Her half-sister won the Frisette. She won the Ballerina. It's a very good family, my friend.
It's a terrific pedigree. I mean, she can just be a broodmare. And Chester and Mary Broman, who own this horse, huge players in our New York breds, and they're really terrific people in the game. And if she can't run, they can use her as a broodmare because that's a terrific pedigree.
You obviously don't have any respect for the outside two horses because you're going to an 0-for-4 horse on the rail here.
I used Mrs. Orb and Making Out as my main two in the pick 4.
Okay.
I threw the 9 into Nylon as a backup and a little Mohani. I'm curious, though, if Maggie Wolfendale has any other ideas.
Well, guys, I just want to touch really briefly on In Denial quickly. She's gotten really hot and washy out on the racetrack, and I don't love that about her, but I actually, glad Gabby brought that up because I remember seeing the shoe fly when she broke that day from the gates in her second start. So good point there with what Gabby said about this John Kimmel trainee. But number 1, Mrs. Orb, turning back, she is very sharp. She was pretty sharp in her last start too, but she is on it here today. And, she's a filly that's getting stronger and stronger behind the saddle in her hindquarters, so that's always a good thing and something you look for when horses turning back in distance. Now, number 6 is Adorina, who I like. She looks great, but I'm a little concerned that it was a sloppy track that aided her second place finish, albeit a slow one last time out in that off the turf event. She just kind of has that sloppy track kind of look to her overall here, Greg. So we'll see if she can improve upon that effort on a fast track, though.
All right, Maggie, thanks. Yeah, 6-1 right now on Adorina, the daughter of Bernardini. We wanted to talk about the 7 here briefly. That is a David Donk filly, who is a number at 8-1 on the board. And Manny Franco, he almost fell out of the irons in the stretch on this horse after getting repeatedly bumped last start.
Yeah, it was actually a good effort, considering it was the first start since January 19th. So she has a right to improve. It was only her second start as a 3-year-old. So I thought she was a horse that could take some money. She's taking a tiny bit of money at 9-1.
6-month layoff, needed that start, and has a race over this surface. We'll see if she can improve here at a price here, 9-1, as they continue to load here for the starts of this late pick 4 here on this Wednesday afternoon. There's a first-time starter stepping in for Barclay Tagg. Let's send it upstairs to the voice of New York Racing for the call. The 8 making out even money right now. Here's Larry Colmus.
Last few runners to come up to the starting gate as Mohani steps forward, Making Out comes up to her spot in line. Sofiane and In Denial will complete the line here. Sofiane is in. Here's In Denial to the outside stall. She will be the last to load here. 6-5 right now on the favorite Making Out. As In Denial steps up and goes in. They're all in line. They're off. An awkward start there for Sophie N, who missed the break. It is Mrs. Orb on the inside, out for the early lead. Chutzpah's got some early speed, too. Outside of them, Making Out came out running in third. Parlapiano was fourth. In Denial is fifth on the far outside. Then Causing Trouble, followed by Mohaney down toward the rail. Arena's next, and then the slow-starting Sophie N at the rear of the field, heading up the backstretch. Mrs. Orb in front through a 22.28 first quarter. The leader by a length over Chutzpah running in second. Making Out now takes second on the outside. Chutzpah back pedals as Parlapiano grabs third at the rail. And then it's In Denial racing along in fifth, about 4.5 lengths from the front, followed by Mohaney. Causing Trouble is next, and then Adarina. Sophie N at the back of the pack, and now it's Making Out, who comes up on the outside to challenge Mrs. Orb, and Mrs. Orb is put to a drive to keep up. Parlapiano is third after a 45.26 half. They're into the stretch, and it is Making Out in front. Making Out kicks away to lead by 2.5 here. Mrs. Orb is second. Parlapiano is third. But it is all Making Out and Jose Ortiz. They come bounding by the 16th pole with an expanding lead, and they're going to be geared down from here. Making Out, an easy winner. Under the wire, 7 in front in hand. Mrs. Orb was second. In Denial got third, and Mohaney was fourth.
Well, the public was all over this result. Making Out, second-time starter. Daughter of Claiborne Sire, Flat Out, gets the victory.
Yeah, it really never looked like
Sorry, I'm thinking of Flatter. My bad.
Yeah, it never looked like the loser here. You know, the one got to the front end, Mrs. Orb, where I thought, okay, this horse coming out a longer race is going to be tough to go on by, but no, just not the class, the same class as the 8, as Making Out is just going to destroy this group.
You were close, Greg. I mean, Flat Out is maybe the most successful son of Flatter, actually. A tremendous racehorse. And as Paul said, this race was over to start. I mean, she broke more sharply today. She was in the bit and on it. Mrs. Orb, I mean, she didn't run terribly, but Making Out was just an hour the best.
She was really good today. She broke well, as you mentioned. The beautiful part is all of her dams wins were around 2 turns, so the future is bright. When you have the weapon of speed and you have the pedigree here, there's a bright future. And let's face it, Bruce Levine is having an outstanding season. Look at his wins, and then how many place horses has he had? He's really firing.
Right. To have Bruce has 5 wins now with under 20 stars at Saratoga meet, that is very hard to do. And Bruce is an excellent horseman. It's nice to see him having success.
So Bruce Levine, yeah, picks up another winner, having a tremendous meeting. 8-1-9 finish, and Making Out the victory at 6-5 in here to start off this late pick 4 with a favorite.
Yeah, they ran basically ABC in here. Making Out was getting bet. Miss Orb was your second choice, and I think In Denial ended up being your third choice. Mohaney, the first-time starter. Barkley Tag usually takes his time. Look for her maybe down the line, but Making Out, no doubt about it.
Let's send it downstairs for more.
We'll only be able to get a couple questions in here as she's about to walk into the winner's circle. Congratulations with your filly, Bruce. But how much do you think that she really built up from her performance as her second start today?
I mean, she built up a lot. She got stronger and more confidence breezing by herself. I was really disappointed the way she ran the first time. I was. I see Maggie one day. I said, this is the best horse I got.
Wow, and she showed that today. I mean, overall, your thoughts of this performance?
Yeah, I mean, it was... Really, it's almost what I expected. That's how good she's trained.
Think she can stretch out with her speed?
Oh, yeah, with Flat Out, absolutely.
All right, well, congratulations on this.
Thank you.
All right, guys, we can see his fillies kind of turning in here, waiting for her to walk into the winner's circle. Big performance today.
No, this was just a lights-out performance. Flat Out, of course, former Suburban winner. She is a daughter of Flat Out, and Bruce Levine, well done getting this filly ready to go like this. Second time out.
Did he just say that's the best one he has? He told Maggie this is the best filly that he has, so I would think onwards and upwards, this New York bred by Flat Out of the Cape Town mare, Mischief Maker, and Fortune Farms got to be very, very excited and gets his or her first career win.
Happy winner's circle. So with this kind of performance, yeah, you start thinking maybe we could face Open Company and even stronger competition next time out. That was an impressive win for this 3-year-old filly by Flat Out for Fortune Farm. Jose Ortiz aboard for the winning ride. And he is creeping up the standings as well. 27th winner of the meet.
Yeah, you knew that by the end of this meet, it was going to be both the brothers and Javier Castellano, and it's starting to shape out that way as Jose is starting to get hot as his brother's still on top.
There he is. Two-time defending riding champion here at the meet. And he's got some work to do to catch his older brother, though, who right now still 13 victories ahead of him with 40 right now at the meet. But usually, and we saw it last summer, he really got hot late.
Yeah, you can get streaky. You got to understand, we still got, what about 11 days, 12 days of racing left, somewhere in there. So he can get him in bunches with obviously a big weekend, and he's a money rider, too.
7th in the books. We got a couple of turf races still to come, including our feature in the John's Call. We're going to send it back downstairs. Maggie Wolfendale has more.
Here with winning owner Dick Nicolai of Fortune Farm. And Dick, making out. I mean, Bruce was high on this filly from the get-go. How rewarding is this win today?
You know, I'll tell you an interesting story about her. When she was at the sale, we bought her at a Timonium sale, at a 2-year-old training sale. So I liked her, and I said, Bruce, look at this filly. He called me up. He said, she's beautiful. I love her. So I said, okay, how much you think she'll bring? She's going to bring at least 100, 110. I said, okay, let's buy her. Well, she only brought 30,000. So I said, did we make a mistake? And he said, I don't think so. But we took our time with her. Bruce did a fantastic job getting her ready, and I think we got a good one on our hands.
I know, bargain basement as well for a lot less than what you thought you were going to pay for. But Bruce had told me about her, that he was just frustrated he couldn't get a race to go. I mean,
that was so frustrating. She hasn't raced in over 2 months. But he did a good job maintaining her form, and she showed it today. We're looking forward to moving her forward. We'll see if she's, you know, how far we can go with her. But she's a beautifully made mare. You know, we love the way her body is, and she's bred to go long. Bruce and I both like horses that can go long.
Yeah.
So we're excited about her.
You have some nice New York breds. Also, Sue's Fortune, a Great Stakes winner now.
Great. I'm so lucky. I bred that filly, and it's so nice to breed one and have them show up like that. So we're keeping our fingers crossed. Maybe I have a really good year on my hands. Who knows?
It looks that way. I think you're already having a nice one, Dick. Congratulations here again with making out.
Maggie, appreciate it.
All right, guys. Fortune Farm, they are heating up the Saratoga winner's circle, that's for sure.
Yeah, of course, Sue's Fortune, Adirondack winner at this meet. So, yeah, they're having a good time with things here. Making out looks like she has a bright future in front of her.
Yeah, she really does. And like I said, with that pedigree, she can do what she wants. Being a New York bred with all the state. Hey, how you doing there, guy?
He must have just cashed in the last race.
Yeah, here's the pick 5 follow along. Trustworthy was your 3rd choice in race number 6. And, you know, beat 2 horses down. I think we're getting bet, but the horse is going to play pretty good. And then you get making out. I think a lot of people went too deep. So not that bad. About a $20 double to start off your Naira late pick 5.
All right, $104,000 in that Naira Bets late pick 5 sequence. Let's take a look at what happened on Monday. There was one ticket alive in the Naira Bets late pick 5, and it was a Naira Bets customer to the 7, who most people thought had zero chance. 44-1, 48-1, I believe. Got a tremendous ride from Romero Mirage and lit up the tote board. Naira Bets late pick 5 came back 98,000 and change, but whoever hit it, that Naira Bets customer, since he was the only winning ticket, he or she got an additional 51,000 plus.
Absolutely unbelievable. Down the backside, we both looked at each other and said this horse had a shot. We both knew, and the audience knew that day, that that was the lone horse in the whole race. And then you get Romero Mirabor, and then after the race, he's a spitting image of his cousin, Rajiv. And for a guy that just won his first race at Saratoga, he was a cool customer about it too.
Late pick 4 played pretty good, 6,600, but when you compare it to the Naira Bets late pick 5,
wow,
there is zero comparison. That is how tremendous this wager is. You got to get involved on the Naira Bets late pick 5, and don't forget on Travers Day, Saturdays usually, if you're the only winning ticket, $300,000 minimum in your account, no matter how much is in the pool. It will be $1 million on Travers Day.
Say that like Dr. Evil.
$1 million. How about that? Must play day. Get signed up, get started at Naira Bets, or download the Naira Bets app. 8th race, run the inner turf. It is at a mile on the inner turf course coming up. New York bred, allowance optional claiming race. Vortex Road opens as the 5-2 choice right now. Bruce Levine looking to go back to that.
This is a little, I thought Broken Broder would be your heavy favorite in here, but even in the multis, Vortex Road is very, very close to Broken Border in here.
What colors will we paint the canoe in the infield this year? Of course, West Coast won the Travers on its way to 3-year-old championship honors. Well, could it be the filly who gets it done? We'll talk about Wonder Gadot coming up next in the Travers.
His record-breaking accomplishments on the racetrack paved his way here to the Stall of Legends. Now retired to stud, we welcome the dawning of a new era as this esteemed champion hopes to stake his claim to immortality. His blazing speed and striking good looks have been passed down to his remarkable first foals. Foals that will carry the flag of their famous father and one day hope to break records of their own. Medication-free and undefeated in sprint competition. Run happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on Saratoga Live, this is where the draw happened for the Run Happy Travers just last night here at Saratoga Springs, the Adelphi Hotel right on Broadway there. Larry Colmus, Andy Serling, both did a terrific job at the event. The filly getting post 2. And of course, the Haskell winner, Good Magic, part of a pair of runners for trainer Chad Brown, who, having grown up so close to here in Mechanicville, would love to win this race. He will send out Good Magic from post 9, Gronkowski from post 3. As for Good Magic, comes in off a huge effort, and he ran very, very good the only time he tried 1.25 miles.
Listen, you can argue all you want, and so the cows come on who the second best 3-year-old is. It's that horse right there. I don't care what other horses have done yet until he gets beat on Saturday by somebody else. He punched Justify in the gut in the Preakness and almost got him beat, and then Justify goes on to win the Triple Crown. He goes into Jersey and dominates the Haskell. Now, it is tough to pull the Haskell to Travers double, but I'll tell you right now, this horse is the real deal and is going to be the horse to beat.
Chad Brown said he needed a little bit of time to regroup from the rigors of the Triple Crown. Looks like he may have come back better than ever with that performance and appears to be getting over this track very well. Here's Chad Brown on where he drew in the race.
I love the post. Yeah, we didn't want to be inside, so for him to draw an outside post, have an opportunity to use his speed to kind of pick the place he wants early is ideal. The horse ran a great race in the Hasley, exited it sound, strong. He's gotten over the track here well. He's had 2 local works, and I just love the way he's coming to the race.
When you're in horse racing at this level, if you're included in these big races, it's unbelievable, right? So it gives me goosebumps to think about it. My wife, her family, they're from Saratoga. This is, you know, the Derby of the summer, kind of. This is the Travers. This is the big thing for Saratoga. I couldn't be happier.
Well, Chad Brown, Andy, not only with your Haskell winner, he obviously has Gronkowski as well, who tried to get to the Derby. That didn't work out, but when he got to the Belmont, he proved he's for real.
No, absolutely. And it's not bad to be a trainer and have the first and second choices in a race as big as the Travers. And Gronkowski's a funny horse. Tell you, when Chad Brown first got him, he really didn't know that much about him. And I can remember speaking to him after he first worked out for him, and he was absolutely amazed about how good he was on the racetrack and really surprised he was as talented as he was. So I don't think that Chad Brown was that surprised that he ran well in the Belmont Stakes. Now he's got to take a step forward. But from all indications, he's been training extremely well, and Gronkowski figures to like the mile and a quarter, and he's going to give a good account of himself in the Travers.
Who gave him that $1 million ride in the Belmont will be on the Haskell winner. Here's Chad Brown on feeling fortunate on where Gronkowski drew.
I wanted him inside, so I really got lucky at the draw. I wanted him just to break out of there, find his legs early. He's not a fast horse early, save ground, make 1 late run. His horse is training super. His last work was as good as I've seen from him, so he couldn't be coming to the race any better. The horse doesn't mind dirt in his face at all, and he's got a good late kick, and hopefully the pace sets up for him.
Well, Frank Miramati, we so look forward to this race each and every year. A little extra intrigue this year. Philly has not won this race since 1950. No Phillies competed in the race since Devona Dale in 1979. And connections of Wonder Godot believe this might be the best 3-year-old in the country at 1.25 miles.
Well, they've got good reason to take this shot. First of all, Gary Barber's not afraid. He plays the game, Andy, at a very high level, and he's not afraid to roll the dice. In this circumstance, he's going to face a tall order with his filly, but look what she's done. She almost went by Monomoy Girl in the Kentucky Oaks. She then wins the first 2 legs of the Canadian Triple Crown, the Queen's Plate, and the Prince of Wales. This is the time to find out, and what a test it is at 1.25 miles. Larry Colmus at the post position draw last night actually was put on the phone by Mark Cassidy to clarify the pronunciation. It's actually Wonder Godut. And so that's the only concern I have. I'm not worried about her on the racetrack. I know this. When I've seen some name changes, Sir Beaufort turned into Sir Buford. He never won again. Mohamed, he didn't win again. That might be the concern here. But I just want to commend Gary Barber, whose brother Cecil's a good friend. They both love the game. And you know what? They're taking a shot in a big race, in the ultimate race for them. Why not? This is what it's all about. You got to find out where you stand, and it's no easy assignment for them. This is a tough task for her, but I just commend them for taking a shot. So many people duck and look for the right spots, cream puff races. They're not doing it here.
Well, they believe this is the only chance to try and still win an Eclipse Award for a division that many people believe is already going to Monomoy Girl. But if they could somehow spring this upset, all of a sudden we have a conversation again. Mark Cassidy, meanwhile, trainer, he had to find a new rider. John Velasquez, of course, already committed to Vino Rosso. So he goes to Irad Ortiz Jr., the meet's leading rider. And he's not too concerned about Irad not getting a chance to have a little test run ahead of the big race.
I wouldn't even ask Irad to put him on because it would change our routine. And right now our routine's been working, and I'm not going to change it. We're going to watch a couple of the races. I think he needs to watch the Oaks, the Kentucky Oaks, and maybe the Queen's Plate. And I'm sure he would do that. We'll probably watch it together. And no, there'll be no instructions. He knows what he's doing. That's why he's the leading rider. I would have liked to have been a little farther out. You know, this gives us less options. But she won from the 1 hole last time. And she has some speed. And the good news is it's a pretty long run to the first turn. There may be better horses in this race, but I would find it hard to believe that there are any training better than she is. I think she's training as good as a horse can train. She just has to show herself. herself is tough. That's why we call her Wonder Woman, and they're not going to push her around.
She's not only shown incredible ability, she's not only beat the boys, she's not only won a mile and a quarter. Changed tactics last time, ran out in front when beating the boys in that second leg of the Canadian Triple Crown. So you can maybe put her wherever you want in this race.
Well, Blinkers have changed her around a little bit, haven't they? And like we said, we've had Mark on Saratoga Live before. He said she just thrives on racing.
This lineup loaded enough for you on Saturday?
No, not enough.
Incredible lineup of races that we have for
bullets.
you. Grade 1 after grade 1 after grade 1. And we are on Saturday from 1 p.m. to 4 Eastern time. So a little bit earlier start time on Saturday.
We apologize for mixing a grade 2 in there. Sorry about that.
We're going to step aside for a quick timeout. 8th race coming up. We're going to shift gears, head to the turf next. Mile over the inner turf ahead. And our favorite right now, trainer Bruce Levine looking to go back-to-back.
Eclipse champion Blaine is having a breakout year in 2018. Among the nation's leading sires of stakes horses, his recent top runners include Fault, Maraud, Marley's Freedom, Beyond Blame, and Miss Kentucky. He's also making a name for himself internationally with French Classic winner Singh. And with yearlings bringing up to $350,000, this 3-time Grade 1 winner offers outstanding value. Blaine, standing at Claiborne Farm.
They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets. Rushes out of there to take the lead. It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
This was the ice cream eating contest. This happened earlier today at Saratoga, and there was an adult category.
My God,
I'm not sure if the guys downstairs entered or not.
The adult category's got to be a little bit more intense considering the cavities are probably more raised than the adults.
These kids need to get after it. What are they doing?
Stomachs aren't that big. Cal's loving it. He's got a nice
You had to eat an entire pint? That's a lot of ice cream. And you, by the way, so you win that, you eat an entire pint of ice cream. You know what you win?
What?
More ice cream.
Nothing wrong with that. I mean, wow. Impressive.
8th race coming up here at Saratoga. We're on the turf. Adam Miles. We take a look at Javier Castellano. He'll be on board the horse who's favored right now. That's Vortex Road is the trainer you're looking at. Bruce Levine trying to win back-to-back here. Time for a paddock report brought to you by Hillendale Farm. Outstanding curling for $150,000. Let's go to Baggy Wolfendale.
And we'll start down on the inside with number 1, Broken Border, who is looking to get her first win here of 2018. Last year, it was a pretty successful one at that for trainer Jason Service. And I will say that despite winning off of that extremely long layoff going into last year, she is a bigger, heavier filly where sometimes, or I should say mare, that she needs to race a little bit more into fitness. And with the 2 starts under her belt this year, she does look extremely fit, and she is sharp here in the paddock. Looks as though she is ready to rock and roll beneath Manny Franco. Next, checking in with number 4, Conquest Hard Candy, who I thought was a little bit dangerous. She has yet to have any success whatsoever outside of Gulfstream Park, but this will be her first try at Saratoga on the turf course, in which the course, as far as circumference is concerned, is a little bit more like Gulfstream in that it's tighter turns, it's a shorter-ish stretch than Belmont, and maybe she could be a little successful as the likely speed in here beneath Luis Saez. And this year, I thought she looked better than ever overall. So I think Conquest Hard Candy could be a bit dangerous here, Andy.
I don't know, Maggie. She's got to answer that question about whether or not she can be effective in New York. And it's a good question. And she is the speed in this race. We'll see how much pressure the number 6 horse, driven by speed, puts on her. The 1 Broken Border is going to be favored by post time. And I don't like her off that race at Suffolk. I think that field was vastly inferior. I don't trust the Beyer speed figure she got. It does not make sense for the rest of the field. And to me, she'll have to improve off that race. But it is Jason Service.
But one thing you got to pay attention to with Jason Service, when you see the running lines of a horse and they take the lead with Jason Service and they don't finish it, you draw a line right through them because those horses can usually run through a brick wall. I'm absolutely against Broken Border in this spot as well. She is dropping in for this race a little bit, but sometimes you just have to take a stand. He doesn't win them all. I don't think he's winning this one.
I used her because I don't love the others, but I prefer Vortex Road. If Bruce Levine to get back-to-back wins, the horses are actually entering the track for the post parade. We'll talk more about Vortex Road and some others after the post parade.
All right, we'll have that coming up with the guys. Post parade here coming up. Field of 7. Going a mile over the inner turf course here. And we're going to see Broken Border right now, who was the morning line favorite. She is 7-2 right now. For trainer Jason Service, comes off an impressive performance at Suffolk, even though she got beat.
Greg thinks it was impressive. I think it was a bad performance. I think she runs back to that race. She gets absolutely nothing here. She's got to move forward, but she does have the best races of anybody in this group.
I think that race is good enough to win here. Table for 6, Junior Alvarado, Ralph Nix team up.
1 of 4 exiting that race that was taken off the turf back on July 27th. There was a search party for everyone except the winner.
Alabama Bound. She's double-digit numbers here. She's won at Saratoga on the turf before for Tom Bush.
She's got races to give her a chance near. I don't think she's impossible at a price, and she showed some life on good turf last time.
Conquest Hard Candy pace, but will she be as quick as the 6, who's coming out of a quick sprint? Luis Saez on board for Jimmy Ryerson.
You mentioned she has that speed. She was pretty well bet in the aforementioned race. She has to improve, obviously, but her races on the grass are good enough to be very competitive.
Vortex Road still favored right now for Bruce Levine with Javier Castellano.
I think her recent turf form is very good. She's in good form, can get a good trip here, and I make her perhaps the one to beat.
Driven by speed, her second off the bench, coming out of a sprint, which with her quick fractions up front for Todd Pletcher.
Several of Todd Pletcher's wins this meet have come with droppers like this. Mike Rapoli is game and gives her the opportunity to be taken away for $40K.
And Barica on the outside for Steve Asmussen with Ricardo Santana Jr.
She has races that can win it. The problem is they were for Danny Gargan, and she has not run as well for different connections.
So that is your field here. 8th race coming up, approaching the 6-minute mark to post. We'll be back with more. Coming up in just a moment, there's Driven by Speed. Where's John Velasquez going to place her in this race coming up? She was very close to some quick fraction sprinting. Now she stretches out, but she's got the 4 to deal with. We'll be back.
Grade 1 winner Data Link by world-renowned sire Warthrock. Data Link scored in the prestigious Grade 1 Makers 46 Mile at Keeneland. then set a new course record in the Grade 2 Monmouth Stakes. His runners include stakes winner Saratoga, along with a growing list of talented young runners. At public auction, his yearlings have sold up to $200,000. Data Link, standing at Claiborne Park.
How do New York breds perform? They win in world-class company. From Grade 1 races in Dubai, where New York-sired New York bred Mind Your Biscuits won the Golden Shaheen for a second time, to Belmont adding to his status as the richest New York bred with a close second in the Met Mile. The Belmont Festival saw 2 more New York breds become millionaires, 4-star Crook in the New York Stakes, and world record setter Disco Partner with a repeat victory in the Jaipur. New York breds, get with the program.
Back on Saratoga Live, race 8 is coming up. Our feature still ahead. That'll be in race 9 in the John's Call at a mile and 5/8 on the turf. Here we're going a mile on the inner turf in this 8th race with a 7-horse field as we look at those familiar silks of Rapoli Stable in this 4-year-old filly, trained by Todd Pletcher, who's with Gabby Gaudette right now.
Thank you very much, Greg. And, you know, Todd, this filly, she's sprinted sometimes. She's gone 2 turns sometimes on the turf. Where do you think that she is most effective? And even in terms of her running style, where do you think she's most effective?
I think generally a mile is probably her best distance as long as she settles a little bit. She can be a little bit headstrong, and that's why we started her back in a sprint. Hopefully with that race under her belt, sets her up well for this.
And there is kind of another speed contender in here. Are you hoping to just maybe sit off her or try to test it on the front end?
Just kind of left that up to Johnny. You know, I think it depends on how aggressive Luis Saez is on his filly, and, you know, hopefully they don't get in a speed duel.
Post position draw was yesterday for the Travers. Talk a little bit about Vino Rosso and the Jim Dandy and his performance. You know, in the beginning of the race, it kind of looked like he was struggling a bit, but came with this impressive late run.
He closed well, but he put himself in a position where he basically had no chance to win. And so obviously we're hoping that we can improve on that early in the race, get him in a little better striking position, and hopefully, you know, he puts himself in a position to win when he turns for home.
Does he give you the feel of a Travers horse? I mean, you've had success in the Travers twice before. Does he give you that type of vibe?
I think he has the ability to do it. You know, he's just inconsistent, sometimes unfocused. So hopefully he shows up. If he runs his A race, I think he has a chance.
Also, I wanted to ask you quickly about Gadoo going to the dirt. What was the thought process behind making that surface change?
He's always trained very well in the dirt. He's out of an unbridled song mare. He's a horse that has a lot of natural speed, and he tends to be a little headstrong, which can be counterproductive on the grass. So we're thinking about, you know, the turn back and just kind of letting him run freely would be more conducive to the dirt. So it's obviously a tough place to try it, but at the same time, it's a big reward if he does well.
Yeah, it opens the door to many more options. Thank you so much, Todd.
Thank you.
All right, back to you, Greg.
Gabby, thank you. Todd Pletcher, 7-time Eclipse Award-winning trainer. He was the leading trainer at the meet here last year. Vino Rosso, everyone remembers tenfold the interesting kind of veering victory he had in the Jim Dandy, and Vino Rosso not that strong early in the race. He was only beat 3/4 of a length.
Todd so stoic to the left, where he learned all of his knowledge. J.J. Pletcher, his father, here with him this week. And you might see him stoic, but he's actually really, really witty and funny when you get to know him.
One of the best trainers in this game. And he will send out Driven by Speed, the 6-horse coming up. 3-1 on the board as we get set for race 8 ahead here on Saratoga Live. Welcome to Saratoga Live. Good to have you with us. Those watching on Fox Sports 2 and other regional networks across the country. We have race 8 coming up. Then it's our feature, the John's Call on the turf. For this 8th race, we're going a mile over the inner turf. New York breds, allowance optional claiming field. Group of 7 lining up. Greg Wolf, Paul LaDuca with you. And there's a look at our current favorite. It's been favored throughout. Vortex Road.
Yeah, for Bruce Levine, who just won the race. If you just joined us before with a filly named Making Out by a lot. So Vortex Road right now is your favorite, although he's not the favorite in the multis. The one actually is Broken Border, but the public's not really trusting Broken Border.
Let's check in to get the thoughts of our guys downstairs, Andy Serling and Frank Miramati.
Late money is very important. Broken Border will be favored by post time. I prefer Vortex Road, a horse who's been in very good form for Bruce Levine. Ignore the last race, a dirt race. The time before that, War Control, War Canoe, out of trouble. I think they may be better horse than these. I think she gets a good trip, and she's just a very logical horse.
She is logical, and another logical contender, Andy, is number 7, Barika. They both exit the same race. They were similarly bet. And pre-race, I really liked the appearance of Barika that day. She obviously was not nearly as effective on that main track. She likes it here at Saratoga. She's 3 for 4 here at Saratoga on the grass.
The problem with Barika is she was a horse for Midwest Stable and Danny Gargan that ran very, very well for Danny. And a number of these horses have been transferred to the Steve Asmussen barn, New York, going back. And they have just done nowhere nearly as well for those connections as they did for Danny. And she's a horse that with different trainers has not run as well on dirt or turf as she has for Danny. I have no argument she has back races and make her the horse to beat. I just don't believe we're going to see it today. I think that she is not that horse anymore.
I don't care who the trainer was. When you get into the barn of Steve Asmussen, a Hall of Famer, I'm fine with it. I don't care what
But
barn.
it doesn't matter because we've seen time and time again Midwest Stable horses have been in the Asmussen barn and they have not performed nearly as well for Danny. And she is an example. She was with that barn last time. She didn't lift a hoof, and she has run well in the dirt before, Frank.
My friend, Vortex Road ran just the similar race. She was 5 lengths ahead of her. They were a block behind the winner.
On the wrong surface.
Right. This is the time to find out. I don't think you can make that statement until Barika runs today on the grass.
I am firm about it. Barika is not the same horse as been all the Midwest horses that ran for that barn. I am against her. Frank likes her, guys.
And we mentioned 3 for 4 on this turf course as they begin to load up. Let's check in real quick with Maggie Wolfendale.
In this particular case, I am on Andy's side here because I watched it all fall, winter with these horses transferred away from the Danny Gargan barn. And I will say that while Barika, she looks fantastic flesh-wise. She's second off the layout. She looks fit. She's a lot more quiet than I'd ever seen her up here last year for the Gargan stable. So we'll see what she brings forth here. I'm wishing you guys best of luck. Frank and Gabby. Woof, Broken Border, guys. Wow, she head slammed the gate there, knocked the gates open. Good job by the assistant starter keeping hold of her. She is getting wound up as the gates are about to spring.
Now that was the one for Jason Service, who's a morning line favorite. Let's send it upstairs to the voice of New York Racing for the call. Here's race 8 from Saratoga. Take it away, Larry Colmus.
They have backed out Broken Border from the inside stall here as Barika comes up to the outside gate. And it looks like Broken Border will come up to the inside stall and reload here, but she's been backed out of the starting gate. Now Manny Franco is off of her.
All right, so there you see Broken Border.
There's something behind
getting
there.
looked at.
You could see the vet looked at Jose, and I think there's something behind. Like now, Maggie said that she slammed her head. They're going to take a look at her head first, but then when Manuel Franco got back on her, they told her to get. Yeah, they told him to get off. And the vet said no. And you could see, read the vet's lips, and she is a late scratch. And this is a giant scratch because she had just went to favoritism.
All right, so Manny Franco heads back to the jocks room. Broken Border, morning line favorite, had yet just become the favorite. Now will not run in this race. So let's send it back downstairs. With her out, Andy, what does that mean here for the running of this race?
Well, it means that one of the short prices out. She's not a speed. She wasn't going to affect the dynamics. For those of the people that used her in the multi-race bets, they are going to end up with a post-time favorite who's very, very likely to be the number 5 Vortex Road, but we'll try to monitor that. The odds on the screen are not accurate right now. They don't reflect the scratch. So if you used her in the pick 4, the Naira Bet Slate pick 5, or the pick 6, you go to the 5 Vortex Road.
And you're much better off for going to Vortex Road and having that twice.
Oh, you're better off than having
Of course, well, here's the
right to scratch, of
right,
course.
because here's the thing. When a horse horse, as Maggie saw, when a horse hits their head against the gate, the chances of a victory following that are slim and none. It doesn't happen, brother.
No question about it, Frank.
So,
this is serving the public the best. There's
of course.
No question. Any horse that is scratched, whether it's the post parade, the paddock, or at the gate, the public is best served,
of course,
even if the 5 loses, because the 1 was not going to win.
Correct. What I'm saying is well, that's a no-brainer. We know that that's always going to happen, but the fact of the matter is, sometimes a horse will slam their head in the gate like that, and they'll be deemed okay to run because, in fact, they are okay to run. But guess what? If you're betting your dollars and you didn't have a time to change, or you're involved in a multi-race wager, you're praying to have 2 times whatever that pick 4 or pick 5 or pick 6 was on Vortex Road than 1, because Broken Border was not about to unleash a victory. Now, the money is coming for Driven by Speed, which makes it very interesting, because now these 2 are vying for favoritism, so you might have to wait until you're watching them down the backstretch to decide. Since we have a moment, let's
Based
get back.
on the multi-race bets, it won't be close at the end.
Based on the tote board right now, 9-5 and 2-1 means a few $1,000.
Could be 580 and 690.
It could very well be that, but when you see it's getting closer. But since we have a second here, I want to revisit a topic that you were so passionate about on this topic of Barica versus Vortex Road. Let me please finish.
You're wrong in what you said about Barica, because you weren't following it the way we have, and Maggie reiterated it. They have not run well for the new barns.
I get it. I'm not arguing with any of it. Yes, I am. What I'm trying to say, this is at least I have the time to spit it out now, is the following. We're going to find out. I believe, when I handicapped this race, for the record, I like the 7, the 6, and the 5. So it's not like I was saying Vortex Road is no good. What I am saying is, if we're going to find out this whole theory, and again, I stand by my statement that I'll take Steve Asmussen from anyone, anytime. So here's the point. Barica, we're going to find out today.
No, we've already found out.
We haven't found out
yet
because they didn't take to the dirt last time out.
She was
nowhere.
She's run well on the dirt for Danny Gargan in the past, and she was horrendous last time.
This is the time to find out.
And we saw in Florida for other connections she didn't run well. We have seen it. Now, listen, does that mean she can't win? Of course not, but I want no part of her.
I understand.
You can have her.
I have her.
Good.
They're the best of friends. You wouldn't believe it. They're actually having dinner tonight. We get set for race 8. Late scratch of Broken Border, who was your favorite. If you had that horse in multi-race wagers, you now have the 5, Vortex Road. Bruce Levine just won the last race. Looking to go back-to-back here. Let's send it back upstairs as we have just about fully reloaded here to Larry Colmus for the call.
Conquest Hard Candy moving back into the starting gate now, and here comes Vortex Road. It's currently at 9-5, driven by Speed, 2-1. Second choice at this point moving in, and 1 left to load. Barica and Ricardo Santana Jr. going in, and they're all in line. They're off. Conquest Hard Candy started well. Alabama Bound has some speed too. Vortex Road driven by Speed going up on the outside. Then Barica and Table for 6 will be last early as Conquest Hard Candy and Luis Saez do the early running up front. Driven by Speed on the outside. Second, Alabama Bound hugs the hedge in third. A length and a half farther back to Vortex Road, who's fourth as they make their way to the backstretch. Then Barica and Table for 6 is 5 lengths from the front. A 24.82 opening quarter mile. Onto the backstretch, Conquest Hard Candy is the leader. On top, a length and a half. Driven by Speed is second. Vortex Road on the outside of Alabama Bound. Head and head, third and fourth. Barica behind them in fifth. And Table for 6 is the trailer up the backstretch. 6 lengths from top to bottom as Conquest Hard Candy leads them along here, moving into the far turn. On top of her, Driven by Speed, running along in second. Alabama Bound is third. Vortex Road, fourth on the outside. Barica follows in fifth. Still about 5.5 lengths to make up, and Table for 6 continues to trail the field. Conquest Hard Candy around the far turn in front, Driven by Speed, second on the outside. 3/4 and 1, 12.43, and they're into the stretch. Conquest Hard Candy on the outside, Driven by Speed. Alabama Bound is down toward the inside. Vortex Road is fourth and trying to make a late impact in the center of the course. Conquest Hard Candy still there. Vortex Road on the outside and Driven by Speed. They're coming down to the line, and Conquest Hard Candy gonna take them all the way and win it by a length and a half. Vortex Road was second, Driven by Speed was third, and then Table for 6.
Well, Conquest Hard Candy out quick, Driven by Speed to the front and able to keep that advantage all the way to the wire.
Yeah, good job by Luis Saez sticking this horse on the front end. And, you know, Johnny V decided with the gray, I'm not going to press that much. 112 is not that fast. over this turf course and was not able to get close to the floor. But give credit to Conquest Hard Candy. She put all the challengers away.
She's a horse that had terrific form in Florida, and if she could ever find that form in New York, she was the horse to beat, but she had never shown that she could do that. But she showed it today, Frank.
Well, she was able to not have any pressure from Driven by Speed, which certainly helped her. And let me acknowledge that Vortex Road soundly defeated Barica, but if we could talk about it again, I'd stay right where I was.
Good to be stubborn in racing.
It's not stubborn, it's just truth.
It's stubborn.
4-5, 6-2 finish. Nice job here by Luis Saez to get the victory. That was the big question, Paul, going into this race. How much pressure would John Velasquez on Driven by Speed put on Conquest Hard Candy before was able to get the lead?
Yeah, and was able to cut out easy fractions, 112. If you look at the back races, look what this horse did at Gulfstream. I know, different circumstances, different racetracks, but this horse has cut out 108, 110s and be able to run okay. Got 112 and 2 today over this course, and a lot of horses that don't really love to win races and got the job done. This horse is going to play way bigger than 4-1 with the scratch of the one broken border, because that horse was 8-5 on the morning line.
Let's head downstairs and check in with Gabby Gaudet.
Well, here with winning trainer Jimmy Ryerson, sending out the Conquest Hard Candy. Thank you. I need help sometimes, especially when we're this far into the meet. Jimmy, just talk about this trip. I mean, she got things going on the front end, and she just kept them going.
Well, anytime the favorite scratches, you know, that's a help right there. But she's trained better of late. Probably took her a little while from Florida to get acclimated. I was disappointed in the first race at Belmont a little bit, and I couldn't tell by the race off the turf, you know, what direction she was heading. But I was hoping that we saw some improvement in her, and she ran back to her, you know, earlier form in Gulfstream, where she ran real well down there for those guys.
And this is your first win up here at this meet. Off the duck. How does that feel?
That's always feels good. It always feels good. Thank you.
Well, we're very happy for you. She's walking into the winner's circle now, so we'll let you go take the win picture. Congratulations.
Thanks, Gabby.
All right, Greg, back to you.
All right, Gabby, thank you. A lot of close seconds, including a couple of stakes races down in Florida earlier this year. Breaks through, gets her first win of 2018 here. Now 1 for 9, and she did it on the front end all the way. Credit to Luis Saez aboard for the victory. Prices when we come back.
This proven son of Giants Causeway has sired 4 millionaires, including Claiborne Farm stallion Lee. Recent top runners include 4-time graded stakes winner Miss Sky Warrior, 3-time graded stakes winner Sharp Samurai, multiple stakes winner Bal Harbor, and Dubai Group 3 winner Shamal Nibraz. Last year, his 2-year-old sold up to $540,000, while his yearlings fetched up to a whopping $575,000. First Samurai, standing at Claiborne Farm.
They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets. Rushes out of there to take the lead. It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Off the turn with a link to the half lead. Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
Bayern turning for home in front. Coast of New York on the outside. California Chrome in third. Shared Belief laboring back to in fifth. 1 furlong to run. Bayern, Coast of New York. California Chrome on the outside. The three of them come to the wire. Bayern, Coast of New York. California Chrome. Here's the finish. Bayern holds on.
Back on Saratoga Live. Get set for our feature race. Coming up here, let's wrap up the 8th, though, before we move on. Conquest Hard Candy. Jimmy Ryerson, Luis Saez team up, pay $10.40.
Congratulations, you're right. Son of his daughter, Candy Rider, the Cimarron Secret Mare, Dade Babe. New York bred. Jimmy Ryerson gets his first win in the meet. Luis Saez with a good ride. And how about that? That filly's first run over the Saratoga course, a winning one.
Well, the Naira Bets late pick 5. Here's the follow along, $104,000 the pool. Started out with Trustworthy, Making Out went off as your favorite, and then Conquest Hard Candy, I believe third choice on the board, which, as you mentioned, could play a little bit bigger as well. Broken Border was a late scratch, and there was a morning line favorite, so those who had that horse would have got Vortex Road. Conquest Hard Candy, gate to wire score. Now we'll see what happens in a feature race that appears to be wide open. Mile and 5/8 over the Mellon Turf course here in the Johns Call. And right now it is Rocketry who is opened as the 9-5 favorite for trainer Jimmy Jerkins.
Yeah, he's been on fire. This is a 4-year-old son, a hard spun. And Centennial Farms has got to be excited about Rocketry. He's done some good work. He's now cutting back. We went from the 2 miles to a mile and 3/8. Now he's actually not cutting back. He's going to a mile and 5/8. My worry with him is he carries his head so high. I was worried when they ran 2 miles, but he is the horse to beat.
Well, this feature race named after a horse who was trained by Tom Voss. And back in 2000, here at Saratoga, did this in the Sword Dancer.
Second on the inside, Williams News on the far outside, and Single Empire at the hedge. Into the final furlong now. And it is John's Call who rolls through the stretch. John's Call opening up impressively here by 5, by a half a dozen, and it's going to be all John's Call. He's going to win by 8 lengths on the wire.
9 1/4 length win as a 9-year-old back in the 2000 Sword Dancer. Jockey Jean-Luc Samine said this horse was so neat. The moment he crossed the wire first, he knew he had won, and he was happy galloping back.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. They never look like a loser when they're coming back, but Jean-Luc Samine on the green, huh?
Yeah, trainer Tom Voss, he was one of the most respected and accomplished steeplechase trainers of all time. And John's Call, when he retired, Tom Voss actually made him a stable pony, and he led the post parade of this race named after him each and every year until he passed away back in 2010. Of course, when he did pass away, trainer Tom Voss, that is, his daughter Elizabeth stepped right in the very next day and took over duties of the stable. Had never even really thought of becoming a trainer, but did what had to be done. And she's made quite an impact. We're going to take a break in the action. We will be back with our feature race, the John's Call, coming up next. And we'll have the tremendous job of the unsung heroes of the racetrack, the Outrider, and their job here at Saratoga next.
His record-breaking accomplishments on the racetrack paved his way here to the Stall of Legends. Now retired to stud, we welcome the dawning of a new era as this esteemed champion hopes to stake his claim to immortality. His blazing speed and striking good looks have been passed down to his remarkable first foals. Foals that will carry the flag of their famous father and one day hope to break records of their own. Medication-free and undefeated in sprint competition. Run happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets. Rushes out of there to take the lead. It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Off the turn with a link to the half lead. Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
I'm Miguel Gutierrez. And I am an outrider. Well, that pony, he's been with me 10 years. I get it from Mr. Pletcher. It's an ex-race horse. And I make him a pony, and he's been with me ever since. He's quiet when he needs to be quiet and fast when we need to be fast. As an outrider, is safety in capital letters. Safety all the time, like in case we got a loose horse, we have to get the loose horse before he ran into some other horse or some to the rail. If we have a rider down in the morning, like the morning we have to call the ambulance. Sometimes it's not easy to catch a loose horse. I mean, the animals, we have 6 outriders. We split all around the track. So we try to do the best we can to save the horse. We have 3 outriders in the afternoon. One has to be in front of the field, and the other one has to be in the back of the field. We out there to help the jockeys to pull up the horses or to call the stewards in case one of the jockeys wants to claim foul. That was the moment of my life, you know, because everybody, I believe trainers, owners, grooms, everybody is, you know, waiting for that moment.
The wait is over. American Pharoah is finally the one. American Pharoah has won the Triple Crown.
Usually we bring the horse to the winner's circle, and I take the horse all the way to the 8th pole, to the end of grandstand. That way everybody see the horse. I take the chance to go all the way to the 8th pole, and everybody, and that was crazy. I've been working for New York Racing Association 30 years.
Justify is the 13th Triple Crown winner. Justify has done it.
It's awesome. It's very exciting.
Well, they're tremendous at what they do. This was just a couple of days ago on Monday, an outrider, Victor Camacho, catching up to a horse who got loose right before the finale on Monday afternoon and did a tremendous job. Look at this, corralling that one in.
Yeah, that was amazing. Before the horse got around back towards the gate, he really took off on Victor, but he was very patient and then sort of caught the horse by surprise. It's amazing what these guys do every day.
Meanwhile, we talked about, well, the name of this race, the John's Call, of course. There is Elizabeth Voss, her dad, the late Tom Voss, one of the most accomplished steeplechase runners in the history of the sport. Trained John's Call, and Elizabeth taking over. Mom, Mimi, says that she thinks he's an exact clone of her dad. She was by his side all the time growing up. She galloped horses for him. Mom said she even mumbles like he does. But whenever it comes to horses, she says she always tries to think, what would Dad do? And taking the same route a lot of times. Stakes race at Delaware that her dad had taken in the past, coming to the John's Call.
Yeah, she was 5th in this race last year with this 7-year-old gelding. And, you know, Kendrick Carmouche is aboard. Then she showed a little bit more turf. Speed. They've showed different dimensions with her. I'm wondering if Kendrick might send her today at a big price.
21-1 on Renown, the Elizabeth Voss runner, coming up here in the John's Call. It's time for a paddock report. We're going to send it downstairs to Maggie Wolfendale. It's brought to you by Hillendale Farm, now standing Curlin for $150,000.
Thanks, Greg. And we'll take a look at, well, the horses that most caught my eye here upon walking in. And we'll begin with one that I've been a fan of here for trainer Bill Mott in number 5, Patterson Cross, a horse that I think should relish this 1 5/8 distance. He's so big, so strong, and he's kind of third off of that shorter type of layoff, and he just looks extremely well conditioned. He's also very nice and relaxed too, which I like to see for trying to go a little bit further further from that mile and 3/8 race. Number 6, Harlan Strong. I was talking to his trainer, Ken McPeak, and I asked, do you think he could be the speed? He said yes, but I'm going to leave it up to Julian. And we saw what Julian Leparoux can do on the lead on a long-distance turf race. He dead heated with a price horse in the Bowling Green earlier this year. So Harlan Strong is fairly sharp, which is a good thing if we want to take the lead here. And he looks great. I mean, he's just carrying great coat, a great flash to him. Kenny's horses do, after he comes off of that win in the Alabama, they do look as though they're doing very well up here at Saratoga. And moving on to one that is a new acquisition for trainer Neil Morris in Gold Shield. Now, look, it's tough to take a horse off of Hall of Fame trainer Shug McGahee, but Gold Cross, as Neil quipped, is like a GQ model, and I would absolutely have to agree. He's extremely handsome here, and he's a horse that has gone 2 miles in the past, and I'm sure the connections bought him with thoughts of maybe trying him over jumps down the road, but this is a logical spot for him to come back in for the new connections, and he really looks a picture here in the paddock. Andy, who are you guys liking here?
Well, I mean, I think there's 4 major players in this race, Mag. The 2 horses for Chad Brown, both Focus Group and the 10 Call Provision, and obviously Rocketry and Gold Shield, who's the best price. Call Provision, he can't get a better trip than he got last time. We know he's good at the distance. We know he's talented. But it's tough for me to take a short price off an absolutely perfect trip. And I think Rocketry ran better than he did that day.
I'm a big fan of Rocketry. I agree with you that Call Provision had a great trip. These are similar horses from the standpoint of looking at the past performance lines. I just have an affinity for Rocketry. I've always felt that he can step up. But Call Provision is a horse that has won 7 of his 17 starts. Certainly nothing wrong with his record.
The other runner for Klarovich and Chad Brown is Focus Group. And the horses we're going to talk about are a little more accomplished, or they've been around more. Focus Group is a horse moving forward. And sometimes, Frank, you want the horse who's moving forward, and maybe he can take another step forward, because his last win was a better race than it looked like.
If you look at him closing strongly on the outside here, to the far left of your screen, he's the number 4. He is going to kick in, and then look, he's got to ask him to run, does Jose Ortiz. But in the final stages here, he'll wrap up after he finishes the job. This was a very good performance.
He actually had some trouble in the backstretch in here, and I think the second-place finisher, Channel Cat, for trainer Todd Pletcher, is a talented runner. This is a horse who could take a step forward and beat this field. Now, we're talking about Gold Shield before we get to Rocketry. Gold Shield, Maggie liked the way Maggie was talking about him. The trainer, obviously, it's not Shug McGahee. Shug McGahee is one of the greatest trainers in the history of the game.
Well
the
said.
new trainer is somebody who's had a lot of success with distance horses, jumpers, and he's a trainer to be reckoned with. And I think Gold Shield is a horse who can be forwardly placed, and he's good enough that at a price, I want to try to get him in there.
We're going to watch this performance here. You're going to go alone on this topic.
Well, Call Provision runs second here. The winner of the race was scratched, Highland Sky. He's going to actually try the Grade 1 Sword Dancer for $1 million this weekend. But I would say with Gold Shield, the race kind of collapsed at the end, and he was off the rail, and he was chasing the pace a bit, so I don't think he ran that badly. Do I think that means he's going to beat Call Provision? Not necessarily, but Call Provision's 5-2 and he's 8-1, so you're getting paid if you're right.
That's the deal. That's what the tote board will do for you, is to give you a fair deal if you're thinking that this guy's going to turn the tables.
Now comes your horse, Rocketry, who is a big-time player.
No matter who we're talking about, I just want to get right back to Rocketry.
Well, he's back, and I don't disagree. He's going to have no problem in the distance, and he ran very well behind Call Provision last time.
I've enjoyed following Centennial Farms on Twitter because of the love that they show to their animals, and in particular, the love that they show for Rocketry. He broke his maiden in such a dramatic fashion. I just love that race last June of 2017. In his next race, he was erratic, but after that, he's just kind of nibbled along, picked up a couple of victories. I just think this is a horse that has that opportunity to finally take that step forward. This is a perfect race, because I think the longer they go, the better.
I have no argument that he's a big-time player in here. He's 2-1 right now. I haven't looked at the multi-race bets. I don't know what price it's going to be.
I had to get in early.
Even for a chalk eater like you, 2-1's a little short.
He'll be about 3 or 4-1 when it's all said and done, and that's a fair number.
I'm not so sure about that. We'll see as we head back the roof. It's a fun running of the John's Call.
Well, there's a look at trainer Jimmy Jerkins, and a big part of the reason Rocketry is the favorite on the board, and now he's 5-2, is what this man has done at this meet this week. He has won with the last 5 horses he has sent out at the premier meet in the country. One was Securities. That's when the streak started back in race 2 on the 16th. 5 in a row, including Can You Dig It in the Evan Shipman just the other day.
Yeah, the big upset with Can You Dig It. Adulator, I think a lot of people thought wasn't going to run, and he destroyed that group. That was some maidens. But, yeah, Jimmy Jerkins on a high, and he's got the favorite in here. And I would think right now, I would think Call Provision will end up being your favorite. Call Provision and Rocketry, the pick threes are pretty close, so it's going to be very close. I think Call Provision will end up being your slight favorite in here.
That is an incredible accomplishment for Jimmy Jerkins, what he's done here at this meet. Can he make it 6 for 6? He'll have that man aboard right there. John Velasquez in the irons on Rocketry. It seems like he's just an improving 4-year-old and getting really good right now.
Yeah, listen, he's like always had a lot behind him as being a type of horse that has been touted to be a good one. And the longer the distances that he's gone, the better he's got. And which I thought would not help him because he carries his head so high. But I'll tell you what, he does have a wicked kick. And he does have a win and a third here at Saratoga, so he does like the surroundings.
There he is with his wife, Sheila. 5-2 favorite Rocketry here coming up in race number 9, our feature race of the afternoon, the John's Call. And we're going to get a look at our post parade here coming up. Again, Andy had mentioned Highland Sky, the 2 who would have been in this race, tackling tougher company this weekend. So we're going to give the rail to Wake Forest, who we'll see in a moment. There's Jose Ortiz, focus group, the other Chad Brown runner in this race, who's taken some attention here at 7-2. He comes in off a win, 4-year-old son of Kitten's Joy. Wake Forest, though, will kick things off in our post parade. Jose Lezcano on board for Danny Gargan, used to be in the barn of Chad Brown.
At one time, he would have been favored in this race. He has not shown that form this year, and as good a job as Danny Gargan does, he's getting this horse from Chad Brown.
How does Danny Gargan do with a Chad Brown horse, now since we're on the Gargan time?
We'll find out.
Focus group, 7-2 on the board for Chad Brown with Jose Ortiz.
A son of Kitten's Joy, who has an explosive stretch kick. We wonder how hard that kick will be at 1 5/8 miles.
Patterson Cross. Bill Mott started out so hot at this meet. Junior Alvarado on board.
Patterson Cross didn't run that badly last time, finished just behind Rocketry, but he had a ground-saving trip while Rocketry was wide.
Kenny McPeak, he had a big win in the Alabama. Sends out Harlan Strong with Julian Leperoux.
Coming out of the Stars and Stripes at Arlington Park, at entry time for this race, 5 had run back, 2 wins, a third, a fourth, and a fifth. It's proven to be a good race.
There's the Elizabeth Voss runner. Her dad, of course, trained John's Call. Kendrick Carmouche on board. 3rd time trying this race for this horse.
Well, sentimentally, you have to be rooting for the daughter of Tom Voss to win the John's Call. On paper, his recent efforts are not good enough.
Gold Shield, Joel Rosario. New barn now with Neil Morris.
Beautifully bred individual out of that nice mare Dream Supreme that I know Andy enjoyed watching throughout her career. Rosario aboard can't hurt because he is on fire.
Beat me out of a pick 6 once.
Did she?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Rocketry. Here is the Jimmy Jerkins runner. He's looking to win with 6 straight here at the meet. John Velasquez aboard.
Well, he's a talented runner. He hasn't taken that big step forward in a stake race like this, but he very well could today.
Call Provision. Chad Brown's more highly regarded runners, 3 for 5 at Saratoga, but those all came on the inner turf.
I'll tell you, when they walked by, this was just like a modeling event here. These are such good-looking horses, including Call Provision, who's honest, but the problem is you have to take a short price. He's certainly a major factor.
And a long shot, I think, has a big chance in here. Here's Bronson. Blinkers going on for Mike Maker. Luis Saez rides.
This is a horse that had a horrendous trip last time out. Now, I don't know if he's as good as these, but his last race, he was given no shot.
I got to give you one quick note. His dam, Cambio Corsa, was known for her prowess down the hillside turf course at Santa Anita. This race is a little bit further.
8 minutes to post. Coming up in our feature race, you get a 10% winner's bonus on the upcoming race with the Naira Bets app. Bet your $1 base trifecta on the Naira Bets app and score the winner's bonus. You can download the Naira Bets app in the App Store or for Android on nairabets.com. Our feature race is coming up. It is the John's Call, 1 5/8 miles ahead. We'll have it for you next. One of many ways to get to this historic little town. Take the train.
They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets. Rushes out of there to take the lead. It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
Back on Saratoga Live, so many great things to see in the town of Saratoga Springs. Among them, Congress Park, Canfield Casino, located within Congress Park, that was named a National Historic Landmark. There's the wooden carousel that I'm still trying to get on before this meet's over. Free concerts happen there during the course of the week. A lot going on here in this town and beautiful little area that's situated right at the edge of Broadway.
And you can drink the spring water. It's edible, and it brings luck. Maybe you should start throwing some dimes or nickels and quarters into the wishing well over there.
I've tasted a bunch of the mineral water around town. Once you get over the initial shock of the taste, very, very good for you. Yes. Our feature race coming up, it is the John's Call, and there's a look at Gold Shield. So moving to the barn from Shug McGahee, now to Neil Morris. Tried Saratoga a couple of occasions, did not hit the board, but this horse has a big shot in here at 8-1.
Well, I mean, he does just off of his races. I mean, he's gone to Gulfstream Park in a 2-mile race. He didn't disappoint there. His race at Aqueduct, he won by 6 1/4. He's only 3 lengths behind Call Provision. He's only a couple lengths behind Highland Sky with Scratch and Call Provision, your favorite. Yeah, he's a major player here. If you like the 10, you have to like the 8. The reason why the 8 is 8-1 because people don't know who Neil Morris is. That's the bottom line.
Ran a group off their feet earlier, or I should say late last year, at a mile and 3/8. That was at Aqueduct. As we take a look here at Rocketry, and making a beautiful appearance here on the racetrack for the hottest trainer here at the meet right now, and Jimmy Jerkins.
Yeah, he really is on fire. 3 for 13, colt by Hardspun. You know, his 1 1/4 race was so impressive. Then they went into the Gold Cup, the 2 miles. It was just a little too far. Last time, you could argue he was a little bit better than Call Provision. That's why they're around the same price. I'm really going to depend on Trip between the 9 and the 10 in here.
Meanwhile, Wake Forest closing in on becoming a millionaire. Jose Lizcano will be aboard for new trainer Danny Gargan. Let's go to Gabby Gaudette for more.
Thank you, Greg. And here with his owner, Randy Hill, and Wake Forest. What enticed you guys to purchase this horse at the Fasig-Tipton Horses of Racing Age back in July?
Well, I've known the horse for a long time. He's a really good horse. You know, he's won grade 1s. So my real idea at the beginning was to buy him and then drop him here and get my picture taken. But the truth is, he's doing so well that I said to Danny, look, let's take a shot. So, I mean, I know he's got the back class. I mean, we know we're in tough, but he's working out and been his best shape I've seen him in a long, long time.
And talk about his class. I mean, he's approaching the $1 million marker. Maybe it just speaks for itself.
Well, you just look back at his races. He's won grade 1s. He's participated against the best horses, you know, when he was younger. Look, he's 8 years old. He's obviously lost a step. But, you know, I still think he's going to be competitive here. I mean, I'll be surprised if we don't hit the board.
A quick thought on Breaking Lucky. You guys ran him first start off of the layoff a couple days ago for George Weaver. High hopes for this horse, yes, off of the layoff?
Yeah, we're really high on the horse now. Obviously, we want to see what he's going to do coming off that long layoff. He got a screw put in his leg. George wanted to run him at 7 off the layoff, not to see what he'd do. But he surprised, I think, everybody was the speed he showed. You know, he's never shown that kind of speed. So we're looking to put him in a mile in the stakes race in Belmont.
All right, well, best of luck on this one.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right, Maggie, we'll check back with you. How do you think Wake Forest looks here?
Well, Gabby, I'm actually pleasantly pleased with what I see from Wake Forest. He's a horse that kind of wears how he's doing on his sleeve, in that going 3 starts back where he did run well, just beating a neck at Aqueduct, he looked great off the layoff. His coat was where it needed to be. He showed the energy he needed. Now, today, and then subsequently his other races, he just didn't look quite as good as that day. But he's taken another step back in that direction this time around. I was a little worried. He's a little quiet in the paddock, but once he's gotten out on the track, he's gotten much more on his toes. His coat looks fantastic, which is usually an indicator of where he is in his training. And look, obviously he can be successful going this distance. Moving on to number 9, Rocketry. I've always been a fan of this guy. He looks great. He was doing his usual kind of nickering to the other horses in the paddock. That's just him. And I'm going to date myself a little bit, Greg. When I first came to New York, I galloped horses for Linda Rice and galloped his dam. There you go. I'm feeling old.
Wow, that's smart farming. Rocketry out of a smart strike mirror, smart farming. 5-2 on the board. We'll see if he can get it done. But let's go back to Wake Forest for a moment. Again, trying to become a new millionaire in here, but can he reach back and find a little bit of that back class? Heard how good this horse has been in the past. Not that long ago, he beat the 5-horse Patterson Cross, who's on the board at 5-1 right now.
No, I get where you're going, but you're also looking at a horse like the 4 Focus Group we haven't probably talked enough about, because since they put the blinkers on, different horse. He's getting joined at a Dynamaker mare, a Dynaformer mare. He could probably run 2.5 miles. If the 4 is good enough, he might beat this field by many. So the 10's better than him, and the 9, he's got to. The thing about him, he's 8, and he's got to outfoot the 4, 9, and 10. Those are 3 quality animals.
He steps
into
the gate.
I'm rooting for him. Listen, I love him. He's a great horse, but I'm going to give him his due, and I hope he gets to that $1 million mark. He deserves it.
Big question mark, too. Who can handle the mile and 5/8 the best of this bunch? It is a long way to go here. 5-horse stepping in, Patterson Cross. Favorite, though, it is Rocketry. Jimmy Jerkins trying to win with his 6th consecutive starter here at this meet. John Velasquez will be in the irons. The 9-horse Rocketry trying to do it for him. Let's send it upstairs for the John's Call. Here's Larry Colmus.
They're all in line. They're off in the John's Call. And it is Harlan Strong who goes out to the early lead. And away running in second is Renown with Gold Shield out in third, making their way toward that first turn. Bronson is 4th on the outside by another 2. And they're followed by Call Provision. Wake Forest is next by another 3 lengths. Patterson Cross, Focus Group after that, and well behind is late running Rocketry. He's going to give him a big head start here. Rocketry's about 18 lengths off the lead after 24.31 quarter. They're coming to the top of the stretch for the first time in this 13-furlong journey, and it is Harlan Strong who is the early pacemaker. On the outside is Gold Shield running in second. Renown is tucked in on the inside, and right behind is Call Provision with Bronson to the outside of them. And then it's Wake Forest, followed by Patterson Cross, who's down at the hedge and racing 7 lengths from the front. A well-held Focus Group is next, and Rocketry got closer. Rocketry's now only 8 lengths behind, but they went 50.61 for a half mile. So they pass the finish line for the first time and head to that clubhouse turn where Harlan Strong leads them along and is prompted by Gold Shield on the outside. So these two are 1-2 around that turn. A length and a half back to Renown racing on the inside of Bronson as they make their way around the clubhouse turn and toward the backstretch. And then it's Call Provision on the inside, 5 lengths off the lead. Wake Forest is next. Rocketry now only 7 lengths behind. And then Patterson Cross and Focus Group still unhurried after 3 quarters in 1:16.84. Up the backstretch they go, and Harlan Strong and Julian Leparoux continue to lead the way. Joel Rosario's got Gold Shield keeping him company, a half length behind in second. Bronson is third, Renown 4th on the inside. Then Wake Forest outside of Call Provision. Rocketry has got 7 lengths to make up, and then it's Patterson Cross and Focus Group at the back. So the field makes their way into the far turn, and Harlan Strong continues to lead the way. On top now by 3/4 of a length. Gold Shield is second, and Bronson is moving now on the outside. This big long shot at 39-1 up to prompt the pacemakers on the far turn. Then Wake Forest on the far outside. Down toward the inside, Renown. And in contention too is Call Provision, who's behind a wall of horses and now finds a seam, and here he comes. A furlong to run, Bronson, Call Provision. Here's Patterson Cross. Focus Group on the far outside. Renown is dashing through down toward the inside. Here comes Renown up the rail. Call Provisions alongside. Call Provisions in front. Focus Group on the outside. These two down to the line together. Who's it gonna be? It was Focus Group who ran down Call Provision in the last jump. Then Renown and Patterson Cross.
Chad Brown gets it done in the John's Call here, and he runs 1-2. Focus Group. The bigger price gets the win.
Yeah, we got to see what happens here because the 5 gets steadied here late. And I'm wondering if it's the 10 coming out or the 4 coming in here. And, wow, the 10 hit the front a little bit, Call Provision, and he somewhat hit the brakes. Let's look at the 4 on the complete outside. The 10 is 3 over. Now, watch the 5 is in between them. Does the 10 come out, cause a little bit of the distraction, or does the 4 come in late here because the 5 cost the 5 third place for sure here. I don't know. Let's see. It's going to get here tight late. It's the 4 coming in. It's more of the 10 coming out. they might take a look at this, and the 10 could be in trouble here for a second.
I agree with Paul that the 10 was the one, I believe, if something happened there, and you'd have to watch the pan. And I say Paul is extremely adept at watching these races and picking up situations in them. It feels like the 10 may have come out. Regardless of that, that's call provision. Chad Brown, Klarovich, maybe it's their year, and focus group. This was a real step up for him. Frank, I didn't think he was going to get there.
He just didn't have the time, but he found it, and he just erupted in the final stages. At least Chad doesn't have to console one of his owners in this photo finish for a change, because there's so many times when his horses run 1-2, but in this case, it's the same group, and focus group steps up. We talked about this at the top of the show. This was a horse that was on the improve, the kind of now horse, and he ran him down fair and square.
Quickly, let's mention daughter of Tommy Voss, Elizabeth Voss, finishing third at 37-1. That's pretty cool, guys.
That's a feel-good story.
Yeah, Renown was actually putting in a big run late in this race, down on the fence here at a huge price under Kendrick Carmouche. So congratulations to the Voss barn here, hitting the board in the John's Call. But in the end here, it's Chad Brown that runs 1-2.
Yeah, still no inquiry, no objection, and it's the Ortiz brothers against the Ortiz brothers. I get that, but I still think there should be something put up here. And Renown actually get put up in second, as you see, and there it is, the inquiry, and the objection is now. And Elizabeth's now probably thinking, I could be moved up here to second, because there's a legitimate case here.
So 3 horses flashing on the board. It was 4-10, 7-5 there unofficially, you see, and 4-10 and 5 all.
Yeah, well, you have the problem, Greg, is that you see the head on, right? Okay, the 4 does come in a tiny bit, but the 10 comes out a lot. But when you go to the pan view, the 5 loses to the 7 by about a half a head or half a nose. If the 5 goes by the 7, there's no inquiry. But since the 5 was hindered and it cost him third place, I mean, listen, Julian almost fell there. That horse took a pretty bad stumble. I think they're going to make a change here.
From that view, certainly looks like the 10 did the most damage, and certainly Patterson Cross getting sandwiched a little bit. But from that view, it looks like call provision.
Yeah, it could be in trouble.
The biggest culprit. So if we did see a change, likely.
Could be 4-7-5, which could be a tremendous trifecta if you have that.
So potentially a 37-1 shot going to get moved up in here. Of course, the jockeys now have to make their case to the stewards. There's Chad Brown and jockey Jose Ortiz waiting and knowing that this is not over yet.
Yeah, it's not over. And listen, they put blinkers on this horse. We talked about it. And wow, he went the overland route and just circled this group. And he caught a nice horse here. And I get it. Irad Ortiz is trying to get his 10 horse to see the horses on the outside. He just didn't see Patterson Cross probably in between. And listen, look right here on the pan view. It cost the 5 third place. He was going to run third. That's why I think they will make the change. If he was maybe a length behind Renown, he wasn't. He was a nose behind Renown.
And again, you don't think there was enough from your winner. You think it's mainly the 10 here is the culprit.
Yeah, I think so. The winner came in just a tad, but it was way before that happened. And let's be honest, call provision had every chance to win the race. And focus group is on the rise. The blinkers have gone on this son of Kitten's Joy. And I told you, Dynaformer on the bottom side, this horse wants to run 3 miles, and he showed it today running down a pretty quality horse in call provision.
Well, this is the jockeys on the phone making their case, talking to the stewards, trying to explain exactly what happened in here. And you see Kendrick Carmouche on Renown waiting to see if his horse will get moved up here.
I always wonder about the guy that's
second.
like sort of not involved, you know, like Kendrick's just like on the rail and he's just sitting there going, ooh, I could pick up second place here, right?
Not bad, right? In a stakes race worth $100,000. Jose Ortiz, he has made his call to the stewards. His older brother, the meet's leading rider, now making his case, who, of course, was aboard call provision. Here's Irad.
And for a lot of people that aren't familiar, the stewards are like the umpires of our sports or the referees, and then each jockey gets to plead their case to the stewards. You see Chad standing next to his charge. Now Junior Alvarado's on the board, on talking to the stewards, pleading his case. I'm sorry, we thought it was Julian Leperoux. Well, no, it's Junior Alvarado. He's pleading his case, going, hey, cost me third place. I'm sure that's what he's saying to the stewards. So stewards are taking everything in account, and we'll see what happens here. But the longer they keep it up, you know what that usually means.
And again, yeah, there's usually a change the longer they look at it. The 4, look, did come in a little bit. You think it was minor?
You think they're looking for double DQ here?
I'm just saying it's
I
a
don't think it's too minor
slight
enough.
possibility as we take a look at all the horses involved in here. So your eventual winner, Far Outside, Red and White Silks. Second place finisher on the right of your screen, Red and White Silks as well. Patterson crossed the 5 in between them, and here just gets sandwiched by those two Chad Brown runners.
Yeah.
But certainly the 10 came over more.
Yeah, he
came out
did.
more.
And listen, Irad was hitting right-handed, right-handed, right-handed. The horse came in, and then soon as he hit Call Provision left-handed, he was getting tired, and he started coming out, and that was just the bottom line. I mean, there's just nothing to it. He just hit the horse left-handed, and he was getting tired. Now you're going to see the rear view. See, he's going right-handed. Watch him duck in, the horse on the front end. Now watch when he switches to the left hand. He comes in 2 lanes. Now he's going to come out 3 lanes. He just got tired right there, and he caused interference. I don't know why it's taking so long.
And late, you saw after that really had happened, Junior Alvarado doing all he could to maybe sell it a little bit. But it's a scary situation being on a horse like that when you get sandwiched and cut off from a couple of horses. So we'll see what happens. And we think, from having seen this over and over, is Chad Brown there watching to see what will happen. The 5 Patterson Cross maybe gets moved up to 3rd.
I say 4, 7, 5, 10. That would be my guess. I don't even know why there's an inquiry on the 4, but that being said, you might be right, but they might be looking at the horse coming in.
Came in a little bit.
Could you see a double DQ and Elizabeth Voss getting put up in her in the John's Call?
That would be incredible. in a race that was named after a horse that her father trained, and you know, regardless of what happens here, and wow, look at this. DQ of the 10, but your winner will stay up.
Yeah, they made the right. This is the right call.
Focus Group remains your winner. Second place finisher came out, and that's the one that was deemed the interference with, and as a result of that, placed behind the 5 horse who he caused the interference with.
Yeah, so bittersweet for Chad Brown. Obviously, getting the winner with Focus Group, and obviously you don't want to get taken down with Call Provision. But like I said, this Son of Kitten's Joy is getting better and better and is on the rise here. And man, he was pretty impressive. Those are slowish fractions, and like I said, Call Provision, the 10 in here, is 7 for 17 with $500,000 in the bank. He does not like to lose races. He got passed by a good horse today.
So Focus Group 4-1 gets the victory. Long inquiry here. Second place finisher for Chad Brown and these same owners, Klarvich Stables, DQ'd, placed to 4th. And as a result, Elizabeth Voss, her dad trained John's Call, moved up to 2nd here in the race with a huge long shot. But Focus Group, your winner. Prices when we come back, and we'll talk about Michael Duh building a better community for the backstretch workers at Belmont Park.
This successful son of AP Indy has sired 6 millionaires, including Eclipse champion West Coast, a multiple Grade 1 winner and runner-up in the $16 million Pegasus World Cup. This year, Flatter is adding even more stakes winners to his outstanding record at stud. In the auction ring, Flatter topped the 2018 Fasig-Tipton July sale with a $520,000 yearling. Success on the track, success in the ring. Flatter, standing at Claiborne Farm.
They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets. Rushes out of there to take the lead. It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
Welcome back to Saratoga Live. Well, we had a DQ, but it wasn't in regards to the winner here. Focus Group, your winner of the John's Call Stakes, and aboard him was Jose Ortiz. And Jose, this horse is actually undefeated at 1 mile 3/8 and over now. He is a quickly developing horse of these marathon turf races.
Yes, he is. He's a really nice horse to ride the first part of the race. He relaxed very well, and that really helped him. And when you ask him to go like the last half a mile, he's there for you all the time.
And he was most comfortable way out in the middle of the course. Obviously, there was some connection there with you and your brother. It's always, is it tough in that situation when there's a kind of inquiry with IRAD involved?
Well, I knew it wasn't my fault. I knew that he was the one that came out a little bit, I guess, looking for competition. He was looking and he didn't realize it was two horses in there. But, I mean, we live into the stewards, and just glad that I wasn't involved in there.
You weren't. You kept your straight line, Jose. Congratulations here with Focus Group.
Thank you.
All right, standing by with winning owner Bill Lawrence with Focus Group. He, I know, was on pins and needles in regards to this inquiry, Gabs.
No, you're absolutely right, Maggie. And Bill, there were definitely some anxious moments here in the winner's circle. What was going through your mind when that inquiry was posted?
I was very happy we got down and we were 1-2. When they're both having an inquiry, I think it would have been unprecedented. I was hoping to keep my composure if they happened to pull them both down. I thought they both ran pretty good. I didn't think there was even a foul, but as long as they kept one of them up, I guess that's the good news. But you never want to see when your horses go to the front and you have to sweat it out for about, it seemed like about an hour. It's probably 10 minutes, but it was a long, long wait while we were waiting. So it's just part of horse racing. When anything can happen, I guess.
I think it was closer to maybe 60 or 90 seconds, but I agree with you. It definitely felt like an hour. But talk a little bit about Focus Group, too, because this is a horse that's just keen, at least appears to be continuing to get better and better.
Yeah, no, I mean, Call Provision is a little bit more experienced running bigger races, but coming in the race, Chad said, look out for Focus Group. He's really training well and seems to be a kind of a stakes caliber horse. So he definitely ran really well today. So going forward, I think they're both nice horses, but Focus Group seems to be moving forward a little quicker pace. So probably be a nicer horse going forward the rest of the year.
Well, congratulations on this one. You can breathe a nice sigh of relief and go and celebrate.
Thank you very much.
All right, Greg, as you can imagine, some anxious moments here in the winner's circle for Bill.
Thought he was 1-2. Instead, he'll just have to settle for the victory, and he will take it. Focus Group, horse on the improve, was not as highly regarded as Call Provision. It was 7 for 17 on the turf, but this horse loves going long.
Yeah, and like I said, the pedigree is there. This is an up-and-comer. I would, listen, I'm telling you right now, you need to follow this horse going forward when it even comes to Breeders' Cup season, because I know that the Europeans come over here and usually dominate, but this is a nice horse by Kid Joy at a Dynaforma Mare Cocktail Hour. Mr. Klarovich has got to be very, very happy, as well as the other connections. Now 3 for 5 lifetime here at Saratoga and 4 for 10 lifetime.
Shout out to Hillendale Farm. They stand Kitten's Joy and a son of Kitten's Joy getting the job done in our feature race. As we look at the Naira Bets Late Pick 5 follow along, $10.60 with Focus Group. I think this is going to play rather large as well, because a lot of people thought it was the other Chad Brown runner who would get the win in here and Call Provision. So now we head into the nightcap coming up, which was a pretty wide open race. $50,000 maiden claiming race, 3/4 of a mile. We'll see how things play out in this finale on this Wednesday afternoon. Right now it's No Limit Babe, Kieran McLaughlin. Turf back to dirt where this filly started her career. Keeneland, who's the favorite?
Yeah, this is an interesting last race, in a race that you maybe have to try to read through the lines, right? You got the 2 in here, No Limit Babe, that's been on the turf. You got the 8 in here, Fly Lynn Line, first start in the Wesley Ward barn after being in the Kenny McPeak barn. And then you have the 4 Wild Type, who was a heavy, heavy favorite in the maiden special weight in the 10-horse field at Churchill Downs in her career start, is now in for 50 and is 5-1. So this race has got value.
Well, one of the leading owners at the meet this year at Saratoga, that is Michael Dubb. He perennially is one of the top owners on the New York circuit. He actually campaigns the filly Monomoy Girl. She appears to be a lock for the Eclipse Award in the 3-year-old filly division. But more than any award, victory, or next star that comes Michael Dubb's way, he is more proud of what he has accomplished on the backstretch at Belmont Park.
It's close. A dandelion.
No, it's a daffodil.
No, it's a dandelion. And dandelions grow in the grass. It's considered a weed. Okay, guys, have a great day. It's a dandelion. People ask me, you know, what's been your greatest moment in horse racing, and what's your greatest win? And I don't hesitate. The Belmont Child Care Association is the greatest thing I've been involved in, and it's not me, it's we. I mean, you know, this is a team effort. Jerry said, you know, the kids at the track, of the people who work there, they're sleeping in cars, they're left unattended, there's nobody to care for them. It would be a great idea to build a daycare center. You know, Jerry, I'm a builder. I've always wanted to do something for kids. I'll do it. And I always thought I would build a daycare center and ride off into the sunset. But here I am, addicted to horses and addicted to the daycare center. You know, picture going into school and you have a problem with, you know, understanding what the teacher says. So we eliminate that. And now you're going into school and you're actually ahead of what the teacher is teaching. Think of the confidence it instills. So we put the children in such a great position to excel, and they do. And it's great. And the parents have complete peace of mind. Not only are the kids being cared for, but they're given such a strong foundation and such great love and affection. And, you know, when they come out of here, they're really ready for preschool, and they get into preschool and they excel. You know, it's like having a strong foundation on your house. And they don't necessarily go away at pre-K. They come back for after-school programs. They come back and do volunteer work. They come back and help out. So the pleasure of watching these children, you know, grow up and be successful and be good people is just, you know, enormous, because we know that it all begins with the foundation, and that's what we do. It's the greatest gift. I mean, if you said to me, win the Kentucky Derby or this, I would choose this. So that's how I feel about it. Now, I'd like to do both, but that's a different story.
His record-breaking accomplishments on the racetrack paved his way here to the Stall of Legends. Now retired to stud, we welcome the dawning of a new era as this esteemed champion hopes to stake his claim to immortality. His blazing speed and striking good looks have been passed down to his remarkable first foals. Foals that will carry the flag of their famous father and one day hope to break records of their own. Medication-free and undefeated in sprint competition. Run happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Oh, I got this to look forward to tonight. Osteria Danny, one of the top restaurants in Saratoga Springs. And if you go, you have to top off the meal when you're all done with a coconut cream pie.
That is true.
I know that's not the coconut cream pie right there. That's a cheesecake, I think, but you gotta do it.
Yeah, the coconut cream pie is something special. You've gone there so much that as breaking news, they might call it the Greg Wolf.
Ooh, I'd love a menu item named after me. That'd be tremendous. We have a paddock report coming up right now. We're going to check it with Maggie Wolfendale. It's brought to you by Hillendale Farm, now standing Byron for $15,000.
Thanks, Greg. And we have a handful of first-time starters here in the paddock that I'd like to cover as we'll begin just down on the inside with number 1, that is Business Beauty. For trainer Gary Contessa, now I do believe Joel Rosario in the irons for this one that just worked 10-3, hence the $45,000 tag. But, you know, it just looked a bit small and kind of backwards and on the weaker side, and that's kind of the vibe I'm getting here, whereas as a 2-year-old, she might not just be the mature type. She does look fit here, but is also, oh, are we taking the front bandages off, I believe? It looks as though here in the paddock. Interesting move. Okay, front bandages off. Business Beauty for her debut. Number 3 is Belle Cour for trainer Michelle Nevin. Now, daughter of Alpha. She is sharp. She is on the smaller side, but that's okay. We are dirt sprinting here, so that makes sense. But she is sharp, so I like that. You know, she does seem well prepared, at least for it mentally here. We'll see how much speed she does actually have coming out of the gate. Now, number 5 is the Lehman Dinner. Besides the Chad Brown trainee, the one that I thought would be taking the second most amount of money, and she is not. She is ice cold at 10-1 on the board here for Rudy Rodriguez and Michael Dubb. Not a bad looking type, but she's very kind of tall, long, and lanky, a bit more on the spindly side. So she doesn't strike me as one that's going to be quick, that's going to have that much early speed, because she's also just very quiet as well here in the paddock. She might be asking for a little more distance than what she's going to experience here with the 3/4. Number 10 is Change of Control for Chad Brown. Another one that's a little bit on the icier side, at least as of now. Looks great, though. I'm fine with her sprinting. Little bit of a turf pedigree. Thought she might have a little bit more of a turf hoof, too. But obviously it's Chad. He would, if she had any ability on the turf, he would likely be debuting her there. But she looks 90% fit. Probably enough that she could take this field down because she is a good-looking type. But the board says no here, Andy. Am I correct in saying that?
Well, I mean, the horse on the outside, it's early. She is second choice in the multi-race bets. Whether or not Change Control's a runner, I don't know. Chad Brown has not run too many maiden-claiming first-time stars. My guess is a big negative, but there are no killers in here. Horse might not be very good and might still win, Frank.
The dam, Maggie mentioned turf in the pedigree line. The dam was all about turf and routes. The only sibling won 1 of 17 starts. Did have 9 in the money performances, but that's why you're seeing attack.
The horse to beat, and the horse who will ultimately be favored, is number 4, Wild Type, who's probably going to be around 2-1 in this race, and she should be. She actually ran okay in her debut, and she really had a nightmare trip last time. It's one of those trips where you wouldn't say anything like specifically bad happened, Frank, but she was just sort of held in abeyance in the back of the pack, and Jose Ortiz never had a chance to really even ride her.
It was a bad day for her, and I would not at all be surprised to see this filly claimed out of this race for $50,000 because she was 6-5 in that debut over at Churchill Downs, and it was a good race.
Yeah, and Eddie Canelli, as you can see, very good maiden special weight to maiden claimer. The number 2 horse in here, No Limit Babe, she's got speed, but they thought she was a turf horse. They're going back to original surface. I wouldn't want her off her debut. I don't think that was a very good race.
I disagree. I thought that was a decent race. It was a decent performance, I should say. I'm not going to get in a big argument with you already again. But I will say that I think that they're going back to the dirt because it didn't quite work out. She has dangerous speed, you know. You never know.
You're going with my favorite trainer, Michelle Nevin, the 3 Belle Curie. Don't see too many alphas, Frank.
And it's about time. It's the right week to see some alphas in the air. This is, I'm just taking a stab. No inside information whatsoever, but I looked at this race, a couple of very nice breezes, 48 flat from the gate, 48 flat regular. You look at the siblings, there's one sibling that was okay sprinting, the other 2 were routers. Why not take a shot at the price?
Talking about Michelle Nevin, who in my opinion, Frank, is one of the best trainers in the game.
She's very good. And here's the thing. When you look at the stats, the first thing you're going to say, which is just if you can open your eyes, you'll see that first-time starters isn't her game. Guess what? That's why you're getting 10-1 on this horse.
They're heading out to the track. Post parade coming up shortly. The 2's hanging out, though. for a horse that's going to show speed, not showing any speed in the paddock, Frank.
Well, she's very slow out of here.
Slow out, fast, or what? Is there like a dumb racetrack?
Oh, you're
saying
thinking
for
of
that?
first in, first out?
Yeah, one of my favorite
Last
silly
in.
racetrack
Last
comments.
in.
Last in, first out. Right.
Now 3-1 on No Limit Babe. Well, she'll get there eventually here. As we get our post parade coming up here momentarily. But this is the one who was favored. Luis Saez, Karen McLaughlin. You know, that Keeneland, that first out effort, that was the only time she tried dirt. It was her debut.
Yeah, listen.
I didn't think she ran bad in that race. She had some trouble in the race.
No. She ran giant. Listen, she was 86-1, and she was steady that day for the Robin McCutcheon run. She was privately purchased, obviously, since then. But to run her odds 86-1 at Keeneland was a pretty good race.
Well, with more on what's happening here with our favorite, let's go to Maggie Wolfendale.
Thanks, guys. And we do see No Limit Babe. Oh, she's getting the Naira blinkers on. And, you know, sometimes when you have big stables, one's training one place and the assistant isn't kind of aware of what blinkers they wear. So just a little slip up here. She's getting them on now. She doesn't care at all. She's like, yes, I need my blinkers on. But I do want to check in then with number 4 as well, Wild Type. I'm pretty sure she's wearing some corrective equipment. I got to get a better look, though, Greg, with her out on the track. She might be wearing a burr here for the first time.
All right, we'll check back in on the 4 here as you get a look at the 4 Wild Type. And we'll go back to Maggie for that update. And here comes our post parade. Eddie Keneally trains Wild Type with Jose Ortiz.
And this is a filly that goes in for the tag here. She's a daughter of Successful Appeal. And, you know, she has every possibility to improve today.
Business Beauty, first-time starter for Gary Contessa, Joel Rosario.
Not taking much money right now, but Gary Contessa had a big win with the first earlier this meet.
Here's the first-time starter, the 3 for Michelle Nevin with Manny Franco.
Got to root for Alpha, especially if Frank likes the long shot. We'll see.
Yeah, dead heated in the Travers back in 2012 with Golden Ticket. Here's a look at the 4 again. Here is Wild Type, who we talked about briefly. Career start number 3.
She's on her toes. I'll give a brief mention of her sire, Successful Appeal. One of my favorite disqualifications ever at Saratoga is when he was put up in a nice victory.
The Lehman Dinner is a first-time starter for Rudy Rodriguez. Gets Lasix for the first out effort.
Nice story on the Lehman Dinner, actually, for Sharp Connections. Rudy Rodriguez and, of course, Michael Dubb et al.
Sister Emily is a first-timer for Dominic Schettino.
I have an unraced mare. This is her first foal, so you got Holy Bull deep in the pedigree line if you want to find an angle.
Jazzy J, blinkers coming off, has shown some speed, and will go turf to dirt.
Yeah, it's an interesting trainer change, but this horse has shown little in his races on the dirt.
Flying Lynn Lyon debuted at Churchill for Kenny McPeak, now with Wesley Ward.
Couple of decent siblings, 3-time, 2-time, and 8-time winners in the family. Interesting that Wesley Ward has this one now. I would look for some speed, much more so than the debut.
First-time starter here, Carabessa, trained by Gregory DePrima with Dylan Davis.
First foal with a pedigree that kind of a esoteric pedigree, to say the least.
And the board would tell you no here. Chad Brown, first-time starter for Klarovich Stables. Javier Castellano, morning line favorite, 5-1.
Daughter of Fed Biz, out of a mare who won 5 of 37 starts, earned $180,000.
That is your field for our nightcap. Coming up here on the main track, 6 furlongs, $50,000 maiden claiming race. Chad Brown with a debuter and immediately putting her in for tag. Has had some okay works, but little chilly on the board.
Interesting race. I can't believe the 4 is 4-1.
We're going to take a break in the action. The finale on this Wednesday afternoon here from Saratoga Live is coming up right after this. Don't go away.
This 3-time graded stakes winning millionaire defeated 20 Grade 1 winners. In the Dixie Stakes, he defeated Canadian champion and Horse of the Year Up with the Birds and set a new course record at Saratoga. Now the excitement is building as his first foals have arrived this year. Half to 4 graded stakes winners, Ironicus has the speed, class, and bloodlines to become the next great sire by Distorted Humor. Ironicus, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on Saratoga Live, it is Irish American Day being celebrated here at Saratoga. The culture of those of Irish American descent. They included Irish music, dance, entertainment, food. I'm half Irish. I don't know if they're known for the best food, but hey, every St. Patty's Day, a little corned beef, cabbage. We had this going on as well.
Can't do that. I know that.
I cannot.
No,
I'm not the Lord of the Dance.
No, it's impressive. Saratoga does a great job with this. They had Italian Day, I want to say a couple weeks ago, but to bring out the heritage of the people here. And listen, it's a lot of fun for a lot of the kids that rehearsed a lot of this. They were out here early.
Saratoga encouraged picnic tables to deck out in Irish themes. I forgot to wear green today.
Right?
I guess if you're part Irish, you don't have to.
You're supposed to get green at the window.
It's true. Run Happy, our show brought to you in part by this champion sprinter each and every day. Here he is on the farm in Paris, Kentucky at Claiborne. We had one of his great moments, really his coming out party, when he started to become a star right here at Saratoga, and we won the King's Bishop at 11-1.
Yeah, and it was dominant, and that's why he's got a race named after him.
That is right. Run Happy Travers is coming up this weekend. Of course, he ran throughout his career without the addition of Lasix medication. Maggie told us she'd give us an update on the 4 wild type. Let's go back to her now.
Thanks, Greg. And yes, number 4 wild type wearing a burr on her outside right side of her bit. I'm going to admit, I did not notice her wearing this in her last start, and I checked with the paddock judge, and he said he didn't either. So we're both assuming that this is the first time she has it on. You can see it there, that black piece, that round oval or circle affixed to the side of her bit. That is for when horses want to lug out. So if you pull on the left rein, it's a little bit more pressure on that side of their mouth, so they're more inclined not to be pulling to the outside. So we'll see. I mean, she is 5-2. She's dropping now, but at first sight of the sport, she was not taking as much money as anticipated. But number 8 is Flying Lynn Lion for Wesley Ward. First time out for this barn, and also gets Lasix for the second start, dropping in from a maiden special weight at Churchill Downs. Was completely devoid of any early speed. But with this trainer, with this rider, I'm wondering if we're going to see a little bit more here today. She's a big, solid-looking filly, and she fits well with this grouping here. Granted, I wish I had seen her a little bit more into the bridle in the paddock, but out on the track, it looks as though Ricardo has given her a good warm-up to get her a little bit more on her toes and into the bridle. So I'm going to take a shot here at 4. Well, she is taking a little bit of money at 4-1 with Flying Lynn Lion. Greg?
Yeah, she is taking attention here. She was 8-1 morning line, 4-1 now, moving to the Wesley Ward barn.
Yeah, and listen, Kenny McPeak is the kind of guy that takes his time with his horses. Most of the time, he does not debut him with Lasix. It's usually 50-50 with Kenny. He's not a big Lasix guy first time out. Now you get Wesley. I'm sure she's going to pop out of the gate like a rocket. Like
he
most
does
of
not
Wesley
take
horses.
time.
No, he does not. Usually they pop out. They're usually pretty good gate horses. Will she need the race? Remains to be seen, you know?
So we'll see. Usually his horse is very quick. He trains him to be quick, Wesley does. But there's some other speed certainly in this race. And then we have some first-time starters. We don't know what they're going to do in here. The 2 No Limit Babe. She's shown some pace on dirt and on turf. She gets back to dirt today. The 2 here with Luis Saez. But the favorite, Wild Type for trainer Eddie Keneally. And it's one who was bred by Dreamwalkin' Farms.
Yeah, our good friend, Toby Keith.
So just about all loaded up. 9 causing a couple issues here. This is a first-time starter for Gregory DePrima not wanting to go in. But the starting gate crew working their magic. And still very cold on the board. The Chad Brown first-time starter for the owners who just won our feature race. Klarovich Stables. Javier Castellano will be aboard. There she is, daughter of Fed Biz. Let's send it upstairs to Larry Colmus for the nightcap.
Change of control. Coming up to the outside stall will complete the line here. We've opened up the front of the gate for change of control. Who steps forward and in. They're all in line. They're off. An awkward beginning there for Flyin' Lin Lion. At the rear of the field, it is Wild Type out for the lead. No Limit Babe goes with Wild Type. Bel Kuare is away running in third, 2.5 lengths off of them. Then it's Jazzy J, followed by the Lehman Dinner. Coming through between horses Sister Emily, Business Beauty's down on the inside. Then Carabessa, Change of Control, and slow starting Flyin' Lin Lion at the back of the pack. 22.73 that first quarter mile. And it's No Limit Babe and Wild Type locked in battle. Bel Kuare a length off of them, running in third by another 5. Then Jazzy J. Sister Emily back pedals on the far turn. Carabessa's next by another 2. So they make their way around the turn. No Limit Babe, Bel Kuare on the outside goes up, and Wild Type is dropped back to third. Jazzy J's trying to get going from fourth, gets a wide run to the top of the stretch. Carabessa's right in behind them. Then Change of Control on the outside. Sister Emily down toward the rail. Furlong to run. Manny Franco shaking up Bel Kuare trying to hold off Jazzy J, who's closing on the outside. And Jazzy J runs up alongside and goes by Bel Kuare. Jazzy J's going to do it, pulling away in the end. Bel Kuare was second. Third is going to be dead tight there, either Wild Type or Carabessa.
Jazzy J, blinkers come off, relaxes off the pace, and has some punch to finish for the victory.
Yeah, and this is a 12-to-1 shot that's going to end this card here at Eric Consell. The blinkers came off, was able to relax. Tremendous information from Maggie Wolfendale, because the 4 was not taking the turn at all and actually started to re-rally a little bit. But she told you this horse was going to be lugging out. The 3 got away here, guys, but the 7 just ran her down.
Yeah, Belcour, tough beat there. Of course, Frank liked the big price. It's had a good trip and maybe a little bit too close to base, it turned out. Very nice trip and ride for Jazzy J, who improved for new trainer, who's actually now got 2 wins in the meet.
The other one was that runaway first-time starter that came from Finger Lakes that won by a block. And Jazzy J ran down Bel Kuare fair and square. Good effort from the runner-up as well, and a close photo for third between the 4 and the 9. That was very tight between those 2.
So Jazzy J, Eric Consell with the win here. Put the blinkers on for one start when she tried the turf back at Belmont. Gets back to dirt, shades come off. Sits off the pace, relaxes, and gets the win at a big price.
Yeah, and this is going to spice up a little bit of everything. Now, not the fastest fillies in the world here in 1:13 and 2, but you got to give credit where credit's due. Jazzy J switches into a new barn, and Alejandro Memo is now 2 for 3 with a 3rd place finish here at Saratoga.
7, 3, 4, 9, 12-1 to close out our Wednesday afternoon card. We'll be back with the prices right after this here on Saratoga Live. Don't go away.
Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets. Rushes out of there to take the lead. It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
Kentucky Derby winner Orb was the leading freshman sales sire of weanlings, yearlings, and 2-year-olds. On the track, his runners have scored on both dirt and turf, including stakes winners Autumn Warrior and Orvolution, stakes performer Scrapper, and TDN Rising Star Explorer. In the sales ring, his progeny continue to sell well beyond his stud fee, including the $1 million co-sale topper at Saratoga. Classic winner, classic pedigree, Orb, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on Saratoga Live, Eric Consell heading to the winner's circle here. Jazzy J, 2-year-old filly making career start number 4, moving back to the main track. Blinkers coming off and getting a win.
You know what? We've seen a lot of these Shanghai Bobbies runners, right? I mean, this one drops in for 50, gets the job done by a Tisnow mare, Suncadia, 1 for 4 lifetime. Congratulations to the Mulhollands who bred this Kentucky bred, and Alex Kazdan, the owner. You were mentioning Eric Consell. Good numbers. Pick 6, 72,000, just a shade under 73. And the pick 5 again, a shade under 10 dimes. And the pick 4 was about 1,100. Still the best play in racing, considering the pick 5 started with their third choice at 7-2, and it changes that much to 9,900.
Naira Bets, there it is. $9,914. Incredible return. Got to get involved again if you're playing this Saturday. If you're the only winning ticket, no matter how much is in the pool, you're guaranteed $1 million.
This is true.
Saratoga Showdown free online contest. Nadine tops the leaderboard. You're playing for Naira Bets points and a grand prize of a ticket package to next year's Belmont Stakes. Go to naira.com/showdown to get involved in the Saratoga Showdown each and every day of our show. Well, as we're wrapping up, Del Mar just getting going. $250,000 point split going on right now. Use your Naira Bets account. You'll split those 250,000 points without even hitting a ticket. Just bet a $10 base exacta in race 5 at Del Mar. To split those 250,000 points, head to nairabets.com to place your wager. It's going to do it for this Wednesday afternoon of action here at Saratoga. We will see you back tomorrow, same time, 4 Eastern. Of course, plenty to talk about all week long on Travers Week. There's Paul LaDuca, if you could see him up there on the roof, waving those arms in the John's Call. But we had a long inquiry in here, but it was Chad Brown initially running 1-2. Second place finisher would get DQ'd. Focus Group getting the win. Elizabeth Voss, her dad, of course, trained John's Call. The late Tom Voss winds up getting moved up to second, but it was Chad Brown, Klarovich Stables, and Jose Ortiz reigning supreme.